I'm way too excited for this. I'm just going to say that out front. I'm very excited and well accompanied. This is not a split screen. We're actually shoulder to shoulder. Look at that.
He's here. Oh.
An incredible day as we have two huge brands. And if you're a subscriber of the Soccer OG, check out 110 Football, blowing up. Vince LaRosa, if you were with 110 Football, you know him well. And we're going to have this just this collision course of us both so we can talk about the World Cup draw. I, for one, Vince, and we're going to have a lot of great guests coming up, I, for one, is way too excited about this because I remember 4 years ago, or was it 5? It's like December of 2017, how empty I felt watching this, knowing that my horse was not in this race.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you were empty, I feel half full.
Well, both your horses were out of that race. Yeah.
That's why I wore this, because it's the closest that they'll get to this draw. Although if you were watching on FS1, they did show a quick shot of Andrea Pirlo, who looks like he is at the draw. He's probably wondering when he's going to get trotted out, being that he has no horse in the race as well. But this is always fun. I love that US is in. I love that Mexico is in, and Canada.
Louis Didi, one of the great folks that are in there. Yes, we have Canada. We're going to have Connor Kalopsis of 110 Football. This is his first World Cup draw, not just because of Canada. I think really, because he has a rooting interest, but many American fans are getting into it. Mm-hmm. Maybe they weren't into soccer, and they're not going to get into soccer in 2018, but they're going to get here in 2022 and hopefully moving forward. So that's very exciting. So if you're tuning in to see it for the first time, you're going to be blown away because it's so big. But it is these famous soccer players in tuxedos, and they go up to a bowl like your standard.
I'm just laughing thinking about it.
They reach in, they get a little plastic ball like the ones that come out of the 25-cent machines that give you an old football helmet. Well, that's back in the day. I'm dating myself.
Oh, I love those. Wait,
do
you remember doing those, but you had to put the stickers on yourself? How many times did you painstakingly?
Mohammed coming in hard.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
It's true, Mohammed. No, those little football helmets, you painstakingly wanted to put the sticker on so perfectly on there.
Oh, yes.
You paid 25 cents for it.
I had a Houston Oilers one. I wish I had it. If anyone has a Houston Oilers one, I'll pay top dollar off.
I so badly, when I was a kid, really wanted a Philadelphia Eagles one for no other reason than I think Randall Cunningham.
That's good enough reason for me. But just to finish the thought, they're going to reach in and get a little plastic ball out of a bowl. They're going to have a little scrumpled up piece of paper, which they have to unfold, and then they'll flash it. And when it says USA, everyone's going to hold their breath.
By the way, these are professional soccer players that play a game that has a high level of difficulty. All they have to do is swirl around these balls, pull it out, as you said, open it up, and hold the piece of paper up. How many errors do you think we will have? Because the moment seems too big for them, and two, they can't follow simple directions.
Yeah, and they'll go, be a European guy. Switzerland.
How many times do you think
Senegal
a guy goes to turn around the paper and he turns the wrong side? Or upside down.
I don't think I've seen that before.
We should have been doing some
prop
bets. We should have had some prop bets.
Let's bring in our third member. We're gonna have a lot of cool guests, and this is open. This is free flowing. We are live here on Soccer OG and 110 Football.
They just showed on FS1. They're showing great goals, and they showed the hand of God. I don't know. I mean,
it's a great goal.
It's an epic goal, but is it great?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to know my two favorite moments in World Cup history? The handball by Maradona and the hand of God, because it's the one we talked about the most. Mm-hmm. And
although he scored the greatest goal of all time in that same game.
I had this great moment at LAFC training yesterday. Mamadou Fall, was there, and he was talking all sorts of trash about African qualification as opposed to South American. Brian Rodriguez of Uruguay comes in, rips him a new one, and then we were talking because Mamadou Fall is 19. Mm-hmm. I go, I know you may not remember 2014. Was it 2010? It was 2010.
10.
Ghana versus Uruguay, and the handball by Luis Suarez, which was vilified for a good reason. But this is the fact.
But it worked out for him.
It worked out. And he basically sacrificed his World Cup so that Uruguay would have a shot.
Yeah.
What more could you do for your country?
By the way, I love the take that was just up there.
What did it say?
My MTV. He was just like, let's go USA, vamos Mexico, let's go Canada. Like, this is the one day where we can all be excited because we're all wondering, because the draw is so important.
It is.
It really is for everyone. I would say even even bigger teams.
But I like
Portugal is wondering.
Yes, but I like the unity of North America. It's very important. We're all going to help each other. So maybe you have those dislikes for your neighbors to the north or south, but this is important for the next few years so we could all raise on this high tide. Let's bring in Connor Kalopsis, who I imagine is very pro. Yes, he is very pro Canada.
He's got to unmute his microphone.
Got to unmute.
You're nervous. You're just nervous.
I'm very nervous. Look at that. Oh,
look
Canada.
At that hat. Strong hat.
Green flag up there.
Kit.
Alfonso Davies.
Connor, how do you feel? I've heard word that supposedly Canada will not change their jersey. You pro that, or would you like a new?
I'm very commemorative. This is probably. I mean, I can go and show you the last cycle's Canada kit, which was miles above whatever this is. Like, what is this? What is this?
I don't know.
It's like the Nike
texture.
Thing. I don't know. I don't like this kit too much, but come on, now it has a little bit of history to it.
Well, yeah, now it's epic. Yeah.
But you don't bring this into the World Cup. You get.
Hey, could you stand up and give us a better look so we can judge this jersey correctly? Let's see.
Eyes are up here.
Look at, he's got the Greek flag. Oh, we lost him.
We lost him. He pushed the wrong button.
That's a nice jersey. What are you talking
about?
And how much more red can you get than that? Canada's red. We're red, white, and blue. You're red. You got to have red.
We're red and white.
Undertones.
Maxie.
I like the white.
Mark Anthony K kit.
It's very nice.
There is also an all black kit. Is that that's the third kit or something?
It was a really weird alternate kit. I don't know why we needed it, but it's cool. It looks nice. I like an all black kit.
You guys look good in it, racing out to the #1 spot in CONCACAF.
Really resembles Canada, just an all black kit.
And your reward for that is pot 4.
It's
pot
so dumb.
4.
I'm so angry.
I mean, if Canada gets an easier group than the United States, I will riot and I'll break things in the studio. I'm just kidding.
To be fair, I think the difference in quality from pot 3 to pot 4 isn't unbelievable. So I think there is a fair shout that it's not drastic. It's different, but it's not drastic. Right. I'm saying the probability of being in pot 4 and still hypothetically getting maybe a better draw than the US is a probability.
Mm-hmm.
So pot 4 will have either maybe Peru. They have to beat who's the team from? Is it Australia?
No,
it's UAE.
UAE.
And then I should have known that. Sorry to our Australian and United Arab Emirate listeners out there. And then we have either Costa Rica or New Zealand. So those guys will go straight to pot 4. And then we have a Euro playoff, which involves a bunch of teams. Maybe Scotland. We hope for Scotland. Maybe Ukraine. We hope for Ukraine. So those are all in there. And then you have Ghana and Cameroon, which always strike you as very good African countries, along with Canada. Ecuador, I think Ecuador's in the low teens, right? In the FIFA rankings. And they're there in pot 4. You're right. Connor, I stand corrected. That is a humdinger of a pot 4.
Yeah. Pot 3 is interesting.
Wow. What year were you born?
Before the last time Canada was in a World Cup.
Let me see. 1982. I was not born in a World Cup year. I was born in 1972, if you were wondering. But there you have it.
My question is,
what is happening on the TV?
Are you watching?
Are you watching what's going on?
They're doing this rollout of Qatar, so we all get to know this country a little bit better. And there was just one scene with all this sand and these giant skyscrapers and hotels come out of it, showing the progress, obviously. And I'm here to learn about Qatar. I don't want to put my guard up.
Yeah.
Isn't that? I mean, it looks like Lord of the Rings when in the second movie with those, with all the gold.
They're also like 100 feet high. I mean, wow.
They're not showing the industrious nature of a country. It's this glamour.
Wow. All right.
Show the audience a bit.
I was wrong about Ecuador. I got the Colombian flag wrong. Ecuador's deep 46, so they should be in pot 4.
Ecuador is better than a lot of teams are better than their world rankings, though, right?
Canada made it into the 30s,
and a lot of teams are worse than their world rankings. Italy is the only team ranked in the top 10 that is not in the World Cup.
I will say, Max, I'll correct you in saying that the last World Cup cycle, I watched the draw a little religiously, but this is like the first major international sporting tournament in which I have a team participating in my entire life. This is probably thus far the biggest soccer event for me, period.
And that's what I meant, Connor, because I was telling Vince before we brought you on, 4 years ago, I watched it, and every second of that entire show, I was thinking, why is the U.S. not here? Why is the U.S.? We're going to a World Cup without the U.S. It just continued. And obviously Canada doesn't have the same perception because they weren't in a World Cup, so they kind of got used to it. But that ship has sailed. And I think you're going to you're going to remember this day. You're going to remember this day. I think American fans and all these projections about where they can fall, and then you get your group, and you basically, you talk about it for 7 months. You talk about it for 7 months about what's going to happen, how do you prepare for this game compared to this game, rest days, who will we play in the round of 16? It's a drug. It really is. You'll be jonesing nonstop. Not that I know what the pharmaceuticals feel like, but it will feel like this drug when you have your pots and your pool and your bracket. You'll be going crazy.
Well, for me, being in pot 4 is actually a little more nerve-wracking now because it'll be the last pot drawn from, and so we'll already know kind of the layout of the groups, and we'll already know which ones are probably the easiest and the hardest. And then it'll be time when Canada comes out, and you'll only have like a limited amount of groups to be drawn in, possibly. I don't know. It's gonna be really nerve-wracking at that time because we'll already know who's the tough group.
That's a really good point because the United States is in pot 2, so they're thinking, all right, who's the one team? But then they're gonna have to wait to kind of go through the next two. Canada, each time they get to pot 4, Connor's gonna go, okay, not that one. Oh, wait, this is the one, and then you don't get it, and you're like, oh, okay, and move along. That's a really good point.
Do they do the group first and then the team, or do they do the team?
Yes.
Oh,
Group.
That's gonna be the worst.
Yep.
Yes, and by the time the group 4 or pot 4 comes around, they'll have the slots there, and because of the teams in the other 3 teams in the group, you might get put right away because some groups can't have Canada in there, so you have to find a group where you can't have a CONCACAF team, or maybe a team has everything else and they should have a CONCACAF.
We should explain that. So because there's so many teams from UEFA, UEFA can have up to 2 teams from their same confederation. CONCACAF cannot. So there is no way you could have a USA with Canada in that group. Obviously, USA and Mexico are in the same pot, so that we don't even have to worry about that. If Costa Rica gets in, so wait, do they have to make sure, because Costa Rica is going to play New Zealand likely.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But do they have New Zealand is a solitary team, Oceania.
But do they have to make sure that Costa Rica is out of the U.S. group and the Mexico group? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
but what about
there will be 2 European teams in a couple groups because of the
sheer amount of teams they get.
I think what Vince is getting at is, for example, Australia, UAE versus Peru. Those are 3 teams from 3 different confederations. How are they going to separate which group? They're
going to have to look ahead and say, all right, Peru is here, so we can't put them in this group because Uruguay's here, and we can't put them in this group. It'll automatically click into a group. The 8 options will become 2 options, and they have to slot into one of those 2.
Okay, so they won't be able to play in. And so of the 3 confederations of that one playoff, they won't be able to be in any conflicting.
No, unless it's the Euro playoff. But I don't think that.
No, I'm saying
it's a European team.
Because for New Zealand, it's Oceania. There's no other team in Oceania than Peru's. What is it? Costa Rica. It's only
Costa Rica is CONCACAF, and then
Peru
is CONMEBOL.
Peru, UAE.
The Euro is Euros, but I'm saying that one playoff, it's CONMEBOL, the Asian
Guys, I don't know if you're watching the TV, but my birthday twin, Idris Elba, both born on September 6th, and both dashingly handsome, thought of to be possible replacements for Daniel Craig as James Bond. He's on the TV, so I had to point that out.
Why don't they just make that already? They've been talking about him for 10 years. Just give him the gig.
I think Idris has said he feels he might be too old at this point, but man, he looks like he could be a Bond.
And that's what someone said, why don't they do a Bond from somewhere outside of Great Britain? And I go, no, to make a different movie chain.
You know what my favorite part with Idris is? A lot of people, when he speaks in his normal voice, he's from London. He has a very London accent. They're like, wait, you were the dude from The Wire. You don't have an accent. What's going on here? Also, Arsenal fan, Connor. Idris
Arsenal
Elba. There you go.
Arsenal fans. No, nothing. I'm kidding. I'm kind of an Arsenal
Anyone
fan.
has any questions out there? We know you're tuning in. We're thrilled to have you with us.
Thank you for everyone that's been saying they're having a good time. It's good to hang out with you. I mean, what else are you going to do with Friday morning? Just hang out with us, have some coffee.
Work.
Yeah. Fridays are like off day. Fridays are optional. You're at work, but you're clocking in, right? That's it.
I wonder if anyone's going to get slapped tonight.
Ooh. Yeah, is there extra security at the front, at the stairs to the stages, just to make sure, just in case?
Chuck Blazer was still there. Maybe he would have. I'm just kidding. He would have gone up there and had a slap.
I actually would love to see Chris Rock at a World Cup draw. They should do. You know what? That is the one thing FIFA's missing. Let's get a little roasting going here. Everyone's all very nice because it's all the different countries and everything like that. Like, let's get Chris Rock out there, Ricky Gervais, and let's do a little roasting.
I like a little roast.
There's
plenty of fodder for it too. What are you trying to do there?
I don't think Australia and UAE have played yet.
Oh,
they did. Yeah, they still have to play.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so they still have to play. Australia's not out of it.
Outside chance. Okay.
I apologize for that. I should be on it. Look, first error of maybe 6 or 7. Best and worst team for USA to face in a group.
Okay. Where's the pots again?
Okay, the worst team to face. This is how it works. If you're the United States, you're gonna face. Let's forget about Qatar. It's not gonna happen.
Are you saying the draw is rigged a little?
It's just not gonna happen.
There are hot balls in there.
Okay, it just doesn't happen. It's never happened. So you're gonna face a heavyweight team in pot 1. So you're gonna first of all say, bring it on. What you don't want, in my estimation, is Brazil or Argentina, because you are the USA. That brings UEFA, which is a very strong federation, back in to possibly pot 3, where you could face. You'll probably get Poland or Serbia. I mean, pick your poison, because you don't want. But I don't think you want Poland or Serbia. Serbia, knocked out, but they knocked out the Italians and moved forward. Those are two really good. If you can avoid, you might get 2 European teams anyway, but Brazil and Argentina would guarantee it. It'd be great to be in a group with Brazil, Argentina, but I think that sets you on a path for a tougher pot 3 team. These are the facts. I'm not disrespecting any federations, but Europe is the most successful by far. CONMEBOL is the second most successful. CONCACAF is the third most successful, by the way, when you look at results. And we're waiting for the arrival of Africa and hopefully Asia, but it's just been sporadic. It hasn't happened consistently. So in that case, you say, let's take our chances there. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I might regret saying this, but for some reason, I'm not as worried about Argentina, just because they have these kind of lapses in their group stages where I feel like the U.S. might be able to pounce on that. Brazil's just Brazil. And as you've pointed out, and we talked about a little bit yesterday on our show, teams, when tournaments are held outside of Europe, it always seems to be in play for a CONMEBOL team. Like, they always seem to do much better. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's things like that. You know who I kind of would want to play? Bring on England. Like, let's do that again. We kind of know that we kind of know their pedigree and how much they really love their history.
England's a good one.
It's a lot of players that I feel like I like that matchup. I think it'd be a fun matchup. Portugal's another one that we're kind of used to.
A Portugal rematch.
Portugal's is a very up and down team.
Yep.
So don't look at all the talent, because their talent is maybe the best in this field on paper. But they have a manager who's been there forever. Fernando Santos, I'm a big believer in refreshing these things. I'm surprised he's Oscar Tavares of Uruguay is no longer there.
I was just about to say, look at Diego Alonso comes into Uruguay,
and then you have
look
that
what
reaction.
they turn around.
So
I think Portugal could use a change.
Belgium. Look, this is where I feel. I've watched Belgium and England. This generation, it's a small window. And they had it the last World Cup. They had it at the Euros. But this is the back end for those squads. And generally, those nations, when they're on the back end of these generations, they're ripe. They're ripe to be picked. I would love England, because I think they are definitely on that backswing.
Just imagine that matchup. Connor, what about for you? Because I think Canada's interesting, right? Because Canada very much knows who they are, and they're very comfortable playing the way that they want to play. They'll sit a little deep, and then they're very athletic, and they're very good in transition. So any big team is not really going to – I mean, the big teams can beat Canada, and Canada can maybe beat them, but they're not going to love playing against Canada.
They won't love it, but this is also kind of a situation in which Canada hasn't really been tested in recent history. If we do get to a point, let's say we play a top, like a pot 1 team, like Canada doesn't have experience playing the Brazils, the Frances, right? We play the CONCACAF teams, and we've done fairly well in this qualification cycle. But yeah, I want to be optimistic, but I don't know how hard Canada will be for some of these big teams.
They just brought FIFA president Gianni Infantino to the stage, and there was actually cheers. I think this is the one place where ahead of something, yeah, it's a setup. Ahead of something actually gets cheers, because I just remember anytime. My favorite is the NHL. Gary Bettman just gets
booed,
it, and he actually loves it.
Even now they stopped booing Goodell because I guess he's making the NFL so much money. But Johnny, I mean, what can you say?
So that's how it works.
That's how it works. Gianni Infantino, there's a lot on his plate. People were talking about the Russia situation, how they've been knocked out of qualifying here, and they're still going to have an appeal. It looks like that ship has sailed. But people are asking now, will something similar happen to countries that do not fit a profile worthy to play in a World Cup? Because I'm a huge believer. If you want to hurt a country, the World Cup is so huge. If you say that country, and Russians, they have a lot on their plate right now. But the fact that they're not going to the World Cup and they're looking that bothers them. It would bother anyone in any country. This is the biggest sporting event by miles. Remember, it wasn't that long ago. It was World Cup Olympics.
No, it's not.
It's close. Miles now that this is the biggest event.
Yeah, Connor, did you watch any of the Olympics? There was an Olympics this year.
I watched what is the one, the ski jump when they go?
Oh yeah, that is kind of fun, because it's a bunch of kids, 18 and 19-year-olds doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, I like that. Brazil, Germany, Senegal, and Canada. I will.
There you go.
I will cry today if that happens.
Yeah, that.
On the flip side, Canada's building, and you get a game against Brazil and Germany. I mean, that's something you can take to your grave in a World Cup. You got to play them both in one World Cup.
I mean, to Max's point, and you kind of brought it up too, Connor, is like you guys are playing with house money a little bit. I mean, you don't want to all start looking at 2026 already, but like Max says, if you get to play against a Senegal, which is one of the better teams in AFCON, which is one of the hardest confederations to qualify through, and then obviously powers in Germany and Brazil, that'll stay with you. And a lot of those guys are going to be part of the mix in 2026, I would assume, right?
Yeah. Well, the other night when we lost to Panama, I was very frustrated because, we could have been in pot 3. But looking back in retrospect, like the quality of the teams at the World Cup period, it's not really about the difference in quality from each pot. It's more so that when you get there, everything's up for grabs. You know what I mean? Whether we play a team from pot 2, team from pot 3, points are up for grabs. Look, obviously there's better teams and maybe Canada, but I don't know. I would be okay with, drawing some tough opposition, because when you get there, you get there. Nothing matters.
Great. Good girl. We saw you. She's pulling for a good run for Iran. And we continue.
I thought you were calling me.
No. That was one of the folks that are in the room. We're going to have a little fun with Connor, because Connor supporting for Canada. And I also will say in 2014, Costa Rica, I believe, was in pot 4, and they were in a group with England, Italy, Uruguay. They won the group, and they got to the quarterfinals. So it can happen.
Who they play in
the quarters? Round of 16, the Greeks. The Greeks got hosed in that game a little bit, and I was pulling for Costa Rica. So, Connor, 1986. We're going to have some trivia for 1986. Are you ready?
Oh,
sure. 19 what?
1986.
The last time the Canadians were in the World Cup.
Your beloved Maple Leafs were in the World Cup.
Sure. Should I have Google ready?
They did okay. They didn't score a goal, but they were competitive in all 3 games.
That's not okay. Didn't score a goal.
They were scoreless, I think, in the 70th minute against the French. It was a great France team with Platini and Tigana and Alain Giresse, and it was a good team. But they pushed them out. They pushed them to the end. And that was their last group game. The number 1 song in 1986.
What?
What is it?
Do you want to take a guess? And the key is, if you get the song,
what is the genre?
You will know the top movie of 1986. Is it just a pop song? Yes. Soundtrack.
Ooh.
Can you give any hints?
I just gave 2 great hints.
Soundtrack.
You'll know the biggest movie.
If the song and the movie are connected.
It's not. You know what my favorite song from a movie around that time is? In Ghostbusters, there's a song that plays when they're driving up to like finish off the end guy, and the song just goes "Saving the Day," and it's like, oh wow, could we get
Great
any
jam.
more on the news? Saving the day, just and the refrain just continuously is someone singing "Saving the Day." It's not that song though, or is it Ray Parker Jr. and who you gonna call? No,
By the way,
Ghostbusters is what 84.
You want to hear a funny story about my dad when that song was going out? There's a line in that song that goes, he goes, and then Ray Parker Jr. goes, "Busted makes me feel good." And my dad goes, "How does he get away with that?"
Yeah, a little wink to the camera.
Oh, really? Ray Parker does it. So,
I don't get that. You guys explain that to me?
busting. Never mind.
Off camera.
Let's move on. Off camera. So, the number one song. Anyone want to venture a guess in the room? I haven't had the word. There you go, Juan. I'm glad for your sobriety. So that's good.
Since '98. Yeah, right. Juan, come on.
Right.
You can't walk down the street in California without seeing a dispensary these days.
Such a great selection.
Although to be fair, to Juan's point, to be fair, no one calls it pot anymore.
No.
It's cannabis.
Yes, it's true.
The devil's lettuce.
Use that word.
The devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce.
All right, get it out. What was it? 1986. What was it?
Take My Breath Away by Berlin.
Okay.
So now you know the movie, right? Oh my! For crying out loud!
No, I could see it.
It isn't. What is it? That's what Friender 4 was. Well, my list says "Take My Breath Away," which was probably pretty good. So the theme song from Top Gun.
Yeah.
And that's what Friends Are For, with a great song, is also up there.
Aren't they remaking Top Gun?
They are, but they've delayed the release for like 2 years.
Because maybe they just
10 trailers for it.
Yeah, maybe they just shouldn't do it.
Also in 1986, the Challenger disaster.
Oh, way to bring the mood down.
And the Chernobyl explosion.
Max with the facts.
This Canadian hopes are like, what? But that was but in fairness, that was the World Cup that changed everything.
Can I just tell you, they're playing a lot of like 70s, 60s, and 70s World Cup footage. There's nothing better.
There is nothing better, but
except for it's only good in highlights, because if you watch an actual game, it's a lot of dudes just standing around.
But
football back in the day was a little different.
Was it you I was talking about when the Pele documentary came out and you see the footage from the 50s and you go, I could run around these guys?
Yes.
And then the growth from 60s, 70s, and then 80s was astronomical. Yes. Okay, we have the list. Can everyone see that? Well, so where's that? Did I read the wrong year?
You must have read the wrong year.
Oh, Peter Cetera. Wow, those are some good.
Wow.
So 1986 gig.
Addicted to Love, Robert Palmer. Why not?
You might as well face it. You're addicted to love.
Okay. Connor, do you know any of those 15 songs?
Not the songs. I know like 2 people on that list.
I'm guessing you know Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time. What a song.
Party all the time.
Connor, do you know who Eddie Murphy is?
Of course. That's the second one.
That's the second one.
He did a song with Rick James, and that was it.
What's a Rick James?
I'll disconnect the line. Disconnect the line. I mean, this kid.
Connor, we got to listen to some records next time you're hanging out. Rick James.
I like this. I like this.
Yep.
Little sit back.
Our producer is just trying to hurt me by putting in people making fun of Italy. Yes.
Rude.
Yes. Oh, look, Italy highlights. Yes. Hey, Italy highlights of them winning World Cups, people.
Let me ask.
Only 8 teams in the entire world have won a World Cup, and we've won 4. That's 4 stars.
Billy Ocean, hugely underrated. People think he's a one-hit wonder. He had like 6 good songs. But I want to ask you this. Do you know all the Billy Ocean top 6?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Get out of my dreams. So Italy, people are taking. What was that, Connor?
When does Corey Hart play?
People are tuning in for a World Cup draw reaction, and they're like, "I'm out. What's going on here?"
You're right.
Well, if you've noticed, there's still Idris Elba on stage, and they were not even close. The Pots aren't even on the stage.
Yeah, we're gonna have some folks tune in, and I kind of said get it close to 1 p.m. Eastern. I played it. My daughter. Nice call, Forest City. We figured to come at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 Pacific, but this is going to go, I think, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But stay with us. We're going to have instant reaction. We live this stuff, and Connor is seeing it from a new perspective, which we will truly enjoy. Maybe it picks up and it happens quickly.
Lights are changing. Things are happening on the stage.
What I want to ask you,
Could it be
Vince,
there's Louis Vuitton?
Louis Vuitton. Man,
luggage.
They're just laying it out. They're laying it out because this is wealth at its finest. Oh, it's got the
Okay.
World Cup.
Are they bringing the trophy? Is the World
jewelry
Cup
made
the
trophy
World Cup
is inside
trophy
the Yves Saint
stays
Laurent
in Louis
case.
Vuitton? No,
Louis Vuitton. Sorry.
Come on, Max. No, your designer gear.
I should really know. I'm a little ashamed of that. That was worse than the Billy Ocean singing.
Oh, look,
Don't you have a Louis Vuitton clutch?
I do not. Can I ask you a question?
What do you put your
talking,
makeup in? I have a.
It's
I have
a little. It's like an airplane. There was one of those
Ah.
first class that I was on. I grabbed it and took it home.
My bag has
Those little
llamas
sacks.
on it. It's very cool.
Didier Deschamps
Okay.
coming out with, I imagine, the real trophy,
With,
or there may be
uh,
both
Is
replicas.
that Billy Elliot?
That looks like Connor. It's like young Connor coming out.
Wait. Okay. Didier Deschamps obviously has the real trophy, but why did they feel the need to have a flattened trophy?
Why is it a cutout?
Question number one on the. Actually, there's going to be a lot of
By
questions.
the way, look how big his feet are. Those Adidas shoes look 3 sizes too
on
big.
Deschamps.
No, on the kid.
Yeah,
Is it
He
bad
looks
of
cool.
me for
and he's
wanting?
got his AirPods in.
Does he?
Oh no, it's just the audio
The audio.
earpiece.
Yes, it's for translation, but I bet you that kid probably speaks more languages than we do.
By the way, Didier Deschamps has been there forever too. That gig
Yeah.
for a national team manager.
I mean, they won, so I guess that's why I was about to say, is it strange that a manager that's going to be coaching in the World Cup is part of this, but he does continue on with them?
Dude, it's Connor up there.
It is.
Oh, it is. No, it's a kid who was crying when France won the last time in 2018.
Oh, and he had the cardboard cutout, Vince, full circle.
Yes, full circle.
circle.
See, don't jump to conclusions, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Allez, he's singing "Allez les Bleus." While we're seeing this, Vince, I mean, what is this going to do for Italian football that they've now missed 2 World Cups? I don't want to pick it, but we saw what it did for the U.S.
Mhm.
And for 2, that's unbelievable.
It has to do something. I don't know what's going to happen. Look,
I mean, they're not going to stop playing soccer in Italy.
remember a
but
while
they're gonna maybe
ago,
investing.
a legend, Roberto Baggio, decided, oh, I'll go into some administrative work and I'll help the Italian Federation. He put together a document, which I believe was somewhere close to like 1,000 pages of what he thinks should change. No one cared. No one read it. And he immediately quit right after putting that document together. That's the state of Italian football. There's a lot of old people running Italian football, and that is a big problem because the game has passed it by.
Do you think that'll force some change, or
It has to. The problem is there's a lot of young players playing in Serie A, which has actually made the league better. Almost none of them are Italian. Because Italians,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Champions League, and you got mad at me when I pointed, but it's been, they've had a few good moments, Roma a couple years ago and Atalanta, but it's been very difficult.
Italians treat young players the way that like Major League Baseball does. They're like, oh, you got to go play for a really bad team for a while and then go play in the lower divisions, blah, blah. Whereas in Spain, they're like, Pedro, you're ready. You're in. You're playing for Barcelona. That needs to be the mindset. And these academies got to get better. I mean, I can't even tell. The last Juventus player that was like born and bred Juventus is probably Claudio Marchisio.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's a one like shining moment. There's not really anyone that's coming up through the big team's youth system. Whereas again, I'll point back to Barcelona. They've got a Pedri coming through. They had to get rid of some of their young stars just because they were hemorrhaging money. Like
send them over here.
We'll take them.
We'll naturalize a couple. That's it. They're really. Go ahead, Connor.
David Wallace in the comments said Italy will never miss again with 48 teams in 2026. I wouldn't be too sure.
But
It's Italy.
UEFA goes from 13 to 16, so it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, only 3 extra.
It's
Okay.
3 extras. So think about the teams. Sweden missed it. Russia.
But I will say that it's
Norway, which has got all that talent.
This is different though than the last time, just because Italy is playing a more modern style of football. Like it's not Marcello Lippi coaching the team anymore. Roberto Mancini really does have them playing well. That's what to me has made it sadder because I watched that North Macedonia game and they played more sadder.
Is sadder a word?
Yeah, saddest.
Of course it is.
Sad, sadder, saddest.
Okay. Saddest?
Saddest.
Well.
Yeah, it's the saddest moment of my life.
By the way, Connor, you'll be happy. Marvin tuned in. Everyone's curious about what happens with Canada. It is actually a more intriguing draw for them in the sense that in pot 4, you're like the deer in headlights and you have to see, you have no control of what's going in front of you. So, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying it could be Brazil and Germany. He goes, come here and get your whooping. And you're like, okay, that's a good one. Stadiums. Also, I saw, I think it was Lou. Also,
stadiums help. Roma's working really hard. Milan is going to have it. See, what's sad though is like the San Siro is going to go away. It's a
Can't
beautiful
stop progress,
stadium.
as they said in Muriel's
Yeah.
wedding.
Whose wedding?
Muriel's Wedding, the movie. That was one of the lines in it. I also saw that the CONMEBOL and UEFA winner, I think it was Lou who said that at Wembley. This is leaving out CONCACAF and other federations. So I think we've got to make allegiances with Africa and have a similar game between CONCACAF and Africa. Let's not wait before Asia does it. Let's do it now because I think it would be compelling. It could be Senegal, USA.
It's
a great game.
It's a high-level game. I'll say it again. Qualifying in Africa is got to be the most difficult. You get towards the top of your group just to have a playoff, like it's tough.
And there was a weird ones. I mean, Senegal and Egypt, they should not have ever had those two play each other because they're both so highly ranked.
Oh my God! Can I just say, and I'm not embarrassed to say this, I thought Carly Lloyd for a hot second was Celine Dion, and I was gonna go, Connor, there's a Canadian.
Is this Jermaine Genius? Is that it? Yeah, it is.
I believe that's Jermaine Genius.
This is great.
Carly,
if we can.
Carly Lloyd.
Carly Lloyd looks great.
Did you see the April Fool's Day joke today about Carly Lloyd?
No.
She said she was coming back to Gotham. It's not true. It's April Fool's.
Oh my God! I got my son this morning. I said there's no school, but there was.
That's rude, especially on a Friday.
Sorry, kids got to learn. You should have came up. Is Jermaine Genius? He works in our industry in England. He's a bit of a
big step up for Jermaine.
Samantha Johnson's the third up there.
What do you guys think of the ball? This year's ball.
I like it.
It's good, solid.
I like it because there's a little mix of modern and I always like a ball that looks like it has panels on it. I'm old school, so I think that it kind of blends that. Like I remember, I think it was like the 2002 World Cup where the ball was looked like a volleyball, and I was like, not for me. So I like that they're going back to having like a panel look to it. But I'm sure in the next couple of months we'll hear whether the goalkeepers like it more or whether the strikers like it more. I love when that comes out. I was like, I can't save it, and people go, good.
Good question, but I don't know how you could not be listening to our Soccer OG 110 football collaboration. So much more information than you're getting up here. Although they look a lot better than we do, but we're bringing some heat.
Speak for yourself.
I think
there's the ball.
There's the ball.
Yeah, it's solid. I'm not one who gets too caught in the ball. Once they kick it, I don't even know what it looks like. I'm not looking at it.
This is true.
I don't get caught up in these things, but I understand it. There's a dollar sign or a euro sign or whatever currency you want to throw up there attached to it.
I mean,
then again, I'm wearing a Van Halen shirt and not a jersey because I just don't wear jerseys. I don't know. I got to change that.
You're better than that, Max.
I am better than that.
Yeah,
I get a lot of heat.
Kids have become fashion staples now. So, what time is the draw starting? Good question.
Adnan,
I'm gonna guess. Adnan, we've got another
I think we're
30
close.
minutes. Oh,
Cafu.
I feel like I think
Go Sorry, Connor.
I was gonna say over under how many former players that come out that Connor will know or have.
Okay, we'll let Connor guess. How great do these players? No one lets themselves go of these players. Nobody's except for Wesley Sneijder and Jose Luis Chilavert. But everyone else is like, I'm gonna stay the same shape I am as a player. I'm gonna dress well. Yeah, Cafu.
I think there's a handful of exceptions there, Max.
There's a couple, but not as many as you would think. Is this JJ Okocha? He looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
That's one of my faves.
Yeah.
I think my stream is just like a couple seconds behind you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got a little salt and pepper. That was Okocha, right? When he was with Nigeria in USA 94, should have gone further.
Yep.
Lothar Matthäus. Watch how good he looks.
More,
hello.
Yeah. More appearances than any other player in World Cup history. Pretty good.
New York, New Jersey Metro star for life.
New York, New Jersey Metro star legend.
By the way, what do you think? Joe Scally was getting so much attention during the World Cup roster announcements. And since he's a right back, I go, let's just call him Scafu.
You did say that because people were overestimating.
Let's make it catch up.
Ali Daei, do you think he still got the gray mutt? No mustache.
Iranian legend.
I'm a little bummed.
Big dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a statuesque striker. So if you need some education on these players, we all saw them. We can help you, and we can have Connor go, who?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they make more money the longer they drag this thing out? No, because there's no like
No,
commercials.
Yeah, there's no commercials, but it's
Like-
all about pomp and circumstance. That's what FIFA loves.
if they're bringing these guys out, it means they're ready to draw. So
Well,
we're pretty
No, I
close.
know,
Here's-
but I'm just saying the entirety of it. Like, just get it over with. No one cares about this except you guys.
Connor, there's
Quiz-
a fun question for you on the screen. Quiz for Connor. Name the unused Canada 1986 World Cup squad member who later would be a Canada national team head coach.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anyone on that roster. Come on. Born in
That's
2000, born in 2003.
Well, who have been recent head coaches that you can remember? I mean, I can only really remember Herdsman just because he's taken Canada so far.
Timmy Cahill.
But who
I think based on
did Herdsman take over
Canada's-
for?
shoot,
Exactly.
Do an internet
I don't
search.
know.
Who did?
I don't know.
Who
I
did
don't know
Herdsman take
either.
over for?
Wait, why can't I? It's a Serbian. Is it a Serbian coach? No.
I don't know.
All right, Craig, give us the answer.
Was Frank Yallop ever the coach of Canada?
Frank Yallop was the coach of Canada, but further back, I believe.
Is the answer Frank Yallop?
Better than our choices.
Oh, hey, there, Bora.
Bora Milutinovic, coach of the '94 World Cup team. Colin Miller.
Oh,
Call yourself a fan.
Colin Miller. Do you remember Colin Miller?
We need more kind of pot 2 questions here to get it correct. Pot 4 questions are difficult.
Craig,
Big
how old
reaction.
are you, man?
Closer to our age than yours.
Come on now.
Yeah, Connor, what are you sipping on there?
Some
Sipping on gin and
diet
juice.
raspberry Snapple.
Oh, what?
All right, folks, start getting ready. We're getting closer to the draw. You can see the pots in front of the dignitaries, so it's going to happen. We're getting
After this commercial break. No,
they're going to get it. They're going to muscle through here.
I mean, they should take some cues, not the slapping part, but they should take some cues from the Oscars and just be like, and in pot 1, after this commercial break.
All right, hear me out.
I ain't touching Jason. I see your comment. I ain't touching that. I saw it, not touching it.
That little cartoon was interesting. At the
It
very
was,
beginning,
yes.
Up to the very top.
There's a traditional headpiece animated.
I will say this: it is tradition for these people to give like speeches like this before they actually pull from the pot. So that's why I'm saying it's still going to be a while.
It's crazy. But remember when FIFA awarded Qatar, one of the most famous, infamous moments in FIFA history, where he pulled out, he goes, Seth Blatter goes, Qatar! And everyone was shocked. I mean, the U.S. group was there. Remember, they had all the heavy hitters come out. Barack Obama come out, and yeah, Barack Obama, you're going to get it, right? And it went to Qatar, and everyone was screaming, scandal, yada, 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 corruption.
A lot of people did lose their jobs after that.
So, and everyone just, his head went down, because remember, it was 2018 and 22. So this was giving it way earlier.
Yeah, well in advance.
So you had to grin and bear it. Eventually got 2026, which we got the feeling we did, but nothing is certain. It was the final one was either USA combined or Morocco. And by the way, I think a North African World Cup bid makes sense. Maybe Morocco, Egypt, Algeria.
When are they going to do that? Because we know 2026 is going to be a 3-country, Mexico, U.S., Canada.
We had South Africa in 2010, so maybe Africa's ready for one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if Morocco's prying, they want to do it themselves, but they will. If Qatar can do it, Morocco certainly can. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Here we go. Man,
Wait.
Jermaine Janus is going to put us all out of work. He's
says
so
that-
good.
Wait, he said it, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to get ready for the draw. Key word there. So are we continuing?
All right, well,
Oh,
let's
they're
go.
gonna okay, they're going to tell us what's going on. 32 nations. So pay attention to this if you
Let's
don't
go.
know exactly what is going on.
This is so exciting. This is every 4 years. This is the part about a biennial World Cup, which I do support, that we would lose. That you remember this, because 4 years is a long time.
Mhm.
And the shock. By the way, the U.S., we're going to find out, the U.S. generally get tough groups.
Yes.
Look at 2014, Germany, Portugal. Hello. And Ghana. Hello.
I would imagine that we were in like a pot 3 at that point then.
Yeah.
So we moved up a pot. So maybe we'll
So
see what happens.
They're showing the pots. That means
Yep.
this happens quick. Usually, it happens relatively quick. So who was it? 2000. We go back at 2010. England, Algeria. Was it Slovenia? That wasn't too hard.
Well, it was made harder on us by some bad refereeing decisions.
Yes,
if you remember.
Should have had the win over Slovenia and ended up a tie.
Yes,
2002.
our
Portugal,
good friend-
Poland hosts Korea.
Our good friend that's hosting for Fox Sports 1, Mo Adu, will remember that.
Yes,
He was in a bad way.
Stolen a goal.
Yeah.
Pot 3.
Ugh. I'm just thinking about Mo. He could have. It's not just the result. Like he could have always said he scored a goal at the World Cup.
See, Egypt not in the World Cup, and Egypt and Algeria out and Tunisia in is crazy. But that's how it fell. But they've got to fix the.
That's how tough it is to qualify in AFCON.
See, the bottom 3 are still a lot to go. The Intercontinental playoffs are in June, I believe, and the European thing, it's still up in the air because of participation of Ukraine. I don't know how Ukraine's going to. I mean, it's going to be a logistical nightmare. They have to get their players, and these guys' heads are not going to be in there as long as their country is being invaded. It's very.
Max, we have another guest to bring in.
We do?
We do.
Excelente. We love guests.
Cool.
The more, the merrier.
Bring him in.
Where? Oh, yeah, Eric Krakauer. Eric,
what's up, guys?
Look at that. He's got the voice of Charlotte FC. A wonderful pundit at BeIN Sports, as well as doing a lot of international stuff. Hey, man, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here.
With the big question here, Karol Świderski, is he going to the World Cup?
I would say so, based on his performances here over the last 2 games. I mean, he is a wonderful player, and I know that Poland have Lewandowski leading the line, but he's a guy who can certainly chip in with some goals and make a difference for that team.
So, as Eric is a Charlotte FC announcer, and Karol Świderski's hit the ground running there for the club, and was involved in a little situation with the Polish national team, which it all ended well, but we hope it ends well for Świderski. Everyone wants to play in the World Cup. Eric, what do you make of these ceremonies? These are just, and obviously, I know you're a big Portuguese fan. You live in the U.S. You're curious to see what the U.S. does. What do you look for in a draw?
A favorable draw for Portugal, which seldom happens. I feel like Portugal and Group of Death are almost synonymous, or have been in tournaments, more in the European Championship than in the World Cup. But there's always a heavy-duty team that they have to face. In 2018, it was Spain. In 2014, it was Germany. We all know what that smackdown was like in the first game of that tournament, with Portugal not going through. In 2010, it was Brazil. So I fully expect for Portugal, even though they're in pot 1, to be drawn against one of the big boys in pot 2.
Are you watching? Because they're announcing pot 1 now. So you're locked in there, Eric?
I'm not actually watching. I'm just going to let you tell me what is happening.
Got it.
Well, can I just say, why did they feel the need to draw the Qatar ball out of the little bowl?
Well,
like, we already
it's
know.
by random. They're going to put him in there. So now they're going to – is this –
Well, no, it's not. No, Qatar has to be Group A.
See, it's the red ball.
Yeah.
But like,
so there's no
for show?
I know there's no real suspense. They have to draw the red ball, but yes, we know that Qatar's
listen,
going to be
man.
pot 1, and they're also going to be Group A.
Don't mess with the ceremony.
Yeah. Eric, Max has been talking about how, because these are every 4 years, it really sticks out in the memory. Do you have any memories of a draw, good or bad?
Well, I guess 2002 and 2014 stick in my mind, because both those World Cups pitted Portugal against the United States. And going into both those World Cups, but particularly in 2002, when I actually believed that Portugal were one of the favorites to win the whole tournament. I mean, that was the apex of the golden generation, with Luís Figo, Rui Costa, Jorge Costa, Fernando Couto, Vitor Bahia in goal. An incredible team. And then losing to the United States was terrible for me, because I was playing college soccer in the US at the time. I had talked a lot of crap to my teammates about, the kind of beatdown that we were going to impose on the US national team. But DeMarcus Beasley, a youngster, Brian McBride, and a weird deflected goal. I mean, those made...
That was the landed was a weird, where he put his arms out and go, I didn't mean to do that.
It went in, and that's all that matters, right?
Ooh,
and then Portugal became their worst enemies in that tournament, with João Pinto getting sent off against South Korea. we beat Poland 5-0 if I remember correctly, but that World Cup was just done and dusted. And when the team arrived back in Portugal, they flew into Porto. They wanted to string up the coach, for the poor performances, considering how well they were expected to do. And then again in 2014, you face a U.S. team, and it takes a last-minute goal, a last-ditch goal for them to stay alive going into the last one against Ghana. So bad memories when pitted against the United States, which is a possibility once again.
Mm-hmm.
So based on what you said, we should want to get in a group with Portugal because of that. I mean, although Portugal's probably due, I wouldn't want to tempt fate there as they announce the group winners. And to Connor's point, they are picking the red ball, so everyone is like predetermined into these groups. So England Group B, Argentina will top Group C, and now France will top Group D, I imagine. Correct?
Well, we're getting
yes.
Yep.
So that's what's going on. I'm sorry.
Because I guess they filled the top pot one through A and H in a row. They don't.
Yes. So we'll get the groups, and then the fun will begin with the second pot. And then obviously they have to be meticulous in where they go because some teams can't go in the same group as some of these pot one teams. So Spain, put them into Group B.
Hear me
5
out.
European teams, 2 South American teams, and Qatar.
What do you got, Connor?
Hear me out. Instead of doing a random draw for entertainment value, just like pick them based off what they think would be like the best turnout.
That's not going to work.
Some people.
I've got it on now.
You got good.
Okay.
I've got it on, so now I can follow it a little bit more closely and actually know what you guys are talking about.
Right.
Yes.
Well, the important thing, Eric, is how good do these former footballers look?
Well, Jermaine Janus looks pretty good, but he could still play. What is he, like 30 years old?
He's crushing it as a host, and I'm like, chill out, dude.
But look at Cafu. He could still play.
Cafu.
Well, he still does.
Man.
He kicks everybody's butt when they play like those honorary ceremonial games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, his game was to be a player that could literally run from end to end for 90 minutes and then go play a game later that afternoon if he really wanted to.
So I told you this is going to move pretty quick. Now they get this, and they'll get into pot 2, and then the fun can really begin. So Group F is Belgium. See, Roberto Martinez, or as he's oftenly referred to, Martinez.
Brazil and Portugal left to figure out what groups they're going to be put into.
Well, this is actually really good news for Portugal, by the way, because, and this was said already on stage, but it was something that Jaime Macias, who was a colleague of mine at BeIN Sports, tweeted out. The further you go, and it's obvious, the last groups get an extra week of practice, and that's important in this World Cup more than any other one in the past because players are going to be, just a week removed from their domestic competitions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great shout, Eric. I didn't even think about it. It's that from the time Group A kicks to Group H is a big chunk. Yep. So a lot of these teams don't even go to Qatar, until the World Cup has already begun. If you are either Portugal or Brazil, so Group G is Brazil. So Portugal's the last group.
H.
Yep. Which means that my pain is going to be drawn out now as I wait to see what remains for us. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the USA was that in 2000. We waited, and I think they're in the last group. I got to pull this stuff up.
They were G.
But you had to wait for it.
Andreas, Group H is the weakest group. Have you seen Group A?
One team in there.
Good call, Connor.
I'm just saying.
Eric, we had a show yesterday where we were talking a little bit about Portugal, and eventually they did their business. They handled it pretty well to get through the playoff. But what do you make? Obviously, they have just like Manchester United, a bit of a Ronaldo problem because there's a lot of young talent coming through, but you can never not play that man in games that of consequence. So what do you make of them?
Well, before the Ronaldo problem, there's the Fernando Santos problem, the coach who should have gone ages ago. How Portugal
Sorry, I was talking about that.
No, that's okay. How Portugal were able to win the Euro in 2016 is just a mystery that I have yet not solved. Defensive efforts, pulled them through that tournament. But he is a real anchor on that team. And I just don't see Portugal doing particularly well in this tournament with him in charge.
All right, pot 2 here. USA-Mexico involved. Lothar Matthäus.
Now it gets fun. Now it gets anxious.
Netherlands. So they'll go to Group A, right?
Oh my God, I'm hearing from you guys first.
German pools, Netherlands. I also love just like kind of the ramifications of like the different, because then you get the conspiracies about all the different things that happen there.
Yeah, you guys are way ahead of me. This is good because it allows me to sort of.
That's no fun for you, though.
Well, I put my thoughts together because the Netherlands now get a huge boon here, against Qatar. Although, the hosts can be tricky customers, and Qatar is a pretty good team. We saw what they did in the Gold Cup.
Our first matchup of the World Cup of 2022. We know Qatar and the Netherlands. So we know the USA will not be in that group. We'll see about Brazil and Argentina.
That's kind of funny. And Mexico either.
USA, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
It's the U.S.?
USA. Are they in England?
I really hope that means they're going to go into B.
They are.
No, I think they're in. They're in B.
They're playing England, USA.
And now they're just going to pick the spot.
So really they're not. It's not random the group in which they get drawn in. It's just basically whichever team gets picked.
It's the order.
Timing of which.
There are a lot of celebrations going on right now in this Charlotte FC office. Everybody is huddled around one of the big screens.
Yep. Well, USA is B3, which is England's group. So USA will be in a group with England.
Love it.
We were talking, Eric, about this, who we would want. I mean, look, anyone in pot one is, and to your point, even playing against Qatar at a home field advantage, we don't know we know the weather's going to be hot. We don't know how much it's going to affect these players, but I wanted to play England just because you know them, and then just the history. I really wanted to play England.
That isn't bad.
Mexico's up. So the USA, but to your point, Eric, they are in an early group, so they're going to have to hit the ground running. But I'm curious how that affects the player pool, the roster, if it does. Mm-hmm. I'm just pumped. It's great to see England and USA in the same group. So let's see.
Sorry, Max. I think it's worth underscoring as well that there's still a long time to go between now and the World Cup. We saw what happened with McKennie in the last group games because of his injuries. So you never know what's going to happen in terms of personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico is going
I
into.
I really like this Mexico-Argentina matchup.
They were always in the same group.
2006, Maxi Rodriguez goal.
Mm-hmm. And there's rumors that they'll be playing a friendly coming up here, so they'll be well aware of it. That's interesting. When was the last time a team has played a friendly leading up to a World Cup against a team they'll play in the same group? Denmark.
Oh, France always get.
France, Denmark wasn't that
2018?
2018 was. Yeah. France, Denmark, Peru was in that group. So maybe we've had similar groups across the board.
Australia, right?
And Australia. Yeah.
Nice one, Connor. Look at that. This is not his first rodeo.
Watch Portugal get Germany. I mean, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Germany, Uruguay, Switzerland, Croatia.
Yeah, you're getting set up for this.
Oh, man.
Denmark, France. Okay. So we have 4 groups left. Germany, Uruguay, Switzerland, Croatia. You're going to get multiple Brazilian teams, European teams.
If there's a time to play Germany, it might be now. I mean, they are getting better, but they're still not quite. They're not a bit of an unknown quantity.
Yeah, but that was the narrative in the last Euro, and look what happened.
Right. I want Germany in Group G.
Germany. I see Germany here. Germany's in E. Germany, Spain.
Oh.
All right.
Look at Lothar Matthäus' face. He's like, oh, come on.
Germany's not a pot 2 team. Let's be honest. So they are because of form, but nobody.
Hansi Flick looks a little
like Brazil, Germany. No, we don't have group. Germany is going to be in Group E with the Spanish.
And then that leaves Switzerland, Uruguay, and Croatia.
And Uruguay knocked out Portugal in the round of 16, or is it the quarterfinals of the last World Cup?
Eric, I'm sensing a theme that you just remember pain.
Well, if you are Portuguese, the traditional music in Portugal is called fado, and it's all about pain. So there you go. Mm-hmm. It's ingrained in our DNA.
Max and I had the chance to speak with our assistant coach, Mark Dos Santos, who is actually kind of aligned with Canada because that's where his professional coaching career started. But he was telling us he identifies much more with Portugal now because of the suffering. He actually suffers through Portuguese games. And he was like, I talked to him about it. I said, that's it. Like you said, in Portugal, I think Italy kind of has this. And a lot of the South American teams kind of talk about suffering. It's not a term that like the English and most European teams are used to. Like suffering is a thing that you have to go through and it's life.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So Spain, Germany, Belgium is going to be with Croatia. And just so you know, the lines 1, 2, 3, 4 will determine when they play.
The order.
So we don't actually have the first matchup yet. We just know Qatar and the Netherlands will play, but I think it means it'll be the last matchup. But
I'm not sure.
We don't have a second line yet, so we don't have an opening match yet. But we have groups brewing. Uruguay, Brazil. You get the Swiss, Eric.
We got a good record against the Swiss.
Now,
wait a minute. Actually, wait. No, because Uruguay will be moved to Group H, correct? You'll get Uruguay. I'm sorry.
They can't be with Brazil.
That's right. That's right.
So you get Uruguay. Thoughts?
You know, they're not who
not
they
as good as Switzerland.
They're not who they used to be, right? There's, Cavani and Luis Suarez far from their best.
What happened in the 2018 World Cup?
2-0.
Oh, okay.
2 counterattacks.
In the round of 16. I will say, listen,
I know that was a tough loss.
Yep. They deserved it.
2 really good goals.
Yep.
I'm a big
Cavani's
believer too. You
particular.
know you're going to get a good team in your group. The pot 3 and pot 4 is where you really want to lock in to make sure there are no entanglements in group play. So Portugal and Uruguay would say we're going through, but what's waiting us in this third pot in particular?
Brazil and Switzerland in the same group, second World Cup in a row.
I would say this is classic Brazil too. They always seem to get a favorable draw.
Brazil the favorites here? Brazil the favorites? France the favorites?
Oh, it's got to be France, and because of one guy in particular, Kylian Mbappe, who right now is head and shoulders above everybody else in terms of quality.
But you're not worried about doing it back-to-back for the French?
I don't think it really matters, to be honest, Okay.
All right, let's put these seatbelts on. This is going to get this is where it gets really interesting.
Remind us who's in pot 3?
Pot 3, and we will show it is Senegal, Iran, Japan. It's countries from all different confederations. Morocco, Serbia, Poland, Korea Republic, Tunisia. There's a lot of multiple European teams in groups, so Serbia and Poland will be on the move here, depending on where they're drawn.
With Poland's performance against Sweden, I wouldn't want to mess with Poland.
No,
they're a good team.
They had such a bad World Cup 4 years ago. I think they're going to be on a mission.
Yeah.
So Iran is in the group with Qatar and Netherlands. I will say Iran almost made the round of 16 last time out under Carlos Queiroz, but it just got away at the end in that group with Spain, Portugal, and I believe it was Morocco. So we can't underestimate anybody. Although I think Qatar, is that a Gulf Cup?
No, because they can't be.
Sorry, move
Qatar.
it.
So
that Iran goes to Group B, just like
Iran,
1998.
USA,
Wow, that's good memory right there, Max Bredos.
That's a famous game.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
a little bit of soccer diplomacy never hurt anybody.
Yes, England will take on Iran in the first game of Group B.
Iran is a tough team. Mehdi Taremi, their striker, very good player.
I rate him, man.
They're a team too. They're organized. They play well, and they can come together in a short period. I think you can never underestimate teams that really have grown up together. Like these guys, a lot of these guys play 17s, 20s, 23. Like they're all the way together. So I think you can't underestimate that.
So as a Canada fan, now I'm trying to think which group will be the easiest, which one I want us to get in.
Right.
And
Well,
now
as a Canada
Senegal-
fan, you can't be in B and you can't be in C. So you're looking at
Senegal is now in Group A with Qatar and the Netherlands. And this, let's see if it's our first. Let's see if this is 2 and we get our opening match of the tournament. Would be it? No.
Nope.
The Netherlands
Still not
will
yet.
open with Senegal.
Yeah.
So that would be like a day 2 because they usually have one game on the opening.
So Connor, everyone's been talking about, everyone just thinks they want Qatar, and I'm still not quite so sure. But if you look at that Group A, if you got slotted into that, I wouldn't want to be with Qatar, Senegal, Netherlands.
No, but I'm just trying to see. We'll see how pot 3 gets laid out. But I
Poland. So they'll go into Group C, right?
Yes, they should slot into Group C because there's no.
That's a tough group so far. Group C.
And I love the U.S. group. Not them saying it's easy, but I think you'd
Yeah,
rather.
I was going to say the U.S.
So
group,
far.
Max, it looks pretty decent out of all the groups so far.
And we can kind of project who they might have in group. Well, you can't. They just won't have Canada or Costa Rica if they make it. So there's 2 slots taken away from this Group B.
Or is there anyone in the Asian Confederation?
In pot 4? Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. So that would take out. You can take out both intercontinental playoffs.
Okay.
It would be, so both international playoffs. So it would be a European team in a playoff, Ghana, Ecuador, or Cameroon, right? It wouldn't be Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Ecuador would be interesting for our LAFC fans.
I imagine it's going to be that Euro playoff. And remember, the Serbia.
I'm just happy we get to see Świderski against Messi, the 2 best players in the world.
Hey, we have a DP rankings. He went from not receiving votes to number 4 on my list, so it's pretty impressive.
Yes, that was very appreciated here in Charlotte, Max.
All right.
Max knows how to play to the fans.
Yes, he does.
Eric, I don't know if you saw his first DP rankings. He had Nico Ladero at 5.
Oh, wait.
Nico Ladero is no longer in the DP rankings, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Wait, Serbia's in Group G because they can't be in D, E, or F.
Correct.
Wait, Serbia was in their group. Like these 3 teams were all in the same group in the last cycle, right? In the last World Cup. Am I crazy?
In Group D? No, France? No, Serbia was, you said Peru and Australia. Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
Tunisia I would have liked. I think that's the weakest African team. But they made pot 3.
No, guys, Brazil, Switzerland, and Serbia were all in the same group in 2018. All 3 of them. It's right here with Costa Rica. That's
wow.
crazy.
You're right. I remember. That's right. And it could be Costa Rica again.
It could be Costa Rica again. That's crazy.
Connor's on it, bringing some heat. D4. So Tunisia will face the Danes. Question was Christian Eriksen being there.
France, Denmark, Tunisia.
Group D might be the group that I want Canada to be in.
I told you this moves fast, huh? Although, I mean, this thing, they're not messing around.
D would be
good.
D would be interesting.
Exactly. And then we talk about it for 7 months.
No,
Japan.
I can tell you, if I were Canada, I'd want to be in Group G. Oh, but I can't, right? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, of course you can.
No, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good shout. Japan. Group E.
Japan in the group with Spain and Germany. Remember, Japan almost made a quarterfinals. They had Belgium up 2 goals last time. And the Asian teams are a bit of a mystery to folks out here, but Japan's good. Korea's got great young talent that I think are going to take another step up. So,
well, do you still remember how Japan lost to Belgium in was it 2018? They wanted to take a long corner with about 30 seconds left in the game, counterattack. Kevin De Bruyne scores the winner. I mean, I remember shouting at Japan not to take a long corner. It was terrible coaching on their part.
Yeah, how could you leave yourself open? Morocco here. And where are their spots open?
Group F.
F, G, F, and H.
So Morocco will go into F.
F, and Korea with Portugal and Uruguay. That's going to be a fun group. Group H.
Yep. Youngmin Son, we got you. We
Morocco.
got you dealt with.
I like Morocco a lot. I mean, they have
Yep.
a lot of European-based players that are playing for big clubs.
Good coach too. Good coach
Yep.
too. Only coach to take 4 or 5 teams to the World Cup. Alil Hadzic.
Oh man, I mean these guys are making some good money. These coaches that get down there and pick up some countries and a lot of time in the Asian Federation or the African Federation.
Yep.
And they get results.
I know. Say what
Yep.
you want. Morocco just got drawn into a group with third place and second place teams in the last World Cup.
Ooh,
Like
Portugal, Uruguay, Korea.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah.
Reports are that USA versus England will be on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, what's the source?
I think that's
Could you imagine?
It's like November 18th is the beginning, I think. No, I
Yeah.
think it because it's Group B, it'd be like the 21st. So Korea
I think South Korea is still coached by a Portuguese in Paulo Bento, who took Portugal to the World Cup in 2014. So that's an interesting. There he is. He just appeared on my screen right now.
there he is. Another guy making some coin.
Well, we were talking about it yesterday. He brought them from like the ranking of like high 40s to like 29. So he's moved that Korean team along. They've gotten better. They have and then as you said, Sonny.
He played.
Sonny's a special player.
Yeah, and he played with Cristiano Ronaldo at Sparting when Cristiano Ronaldo was coming through.
I'll say from Canada's perspective, personally, I think either Group D or Group G would be the preferable draws.
Real quick, I want to mention something about Mexico's group because it's Argentina and Poland. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, Mexico's doomed." You go, Mexico is a team that could flick the switch. They need goals, and they might be able to get them here from that El Tridente, the front three, and it could happen at the World Cup. I wouldn't underestimate them because they are really good in the groups, just not good in the round of 16. Intercontinental playoff. Let's see which one it is. The first one. This is UAE, Peru,
Yes.
and Australia.
So they can't be in there because
So they go straight to Group D.
Okay. So D is off the table for Canada.
This is 3 teams, so it's hard to project.
Okay, so let's say that's Australia.
Peru.
Australia and Denmark were all in the same
Oh, wait a
group.
minute. Peru was in that group 4 years ago, so it could be Peru. It's likely to be Peru.
So weird.
Or Australia, who was in that group.
Australia. Or Australia.
Or it's going to be the UAE now.
Yeah. Up the UAE.
Here we go. Canada. Is this? Oh, it's the group still. Ecuador. They go to Group A. Wow, Ecuador just are licking their chops, so to speak.
Woo!
Chiqui Palacios. There's Gustavo Alfaro.
Jose
Cifuentes. And no one's licking their chops. Still hard.
I would like the U.S. to play.
I don't want to be in Group E, guys. I really don't want to be in Group E.
You're out of.
There's only 4 groups in which we can be in.
Oh wait, so Qatar, Ecuador is your curtain raiser.
You've said a different curtain raiser like 7 times, Max.
I know. He's really.
I'm tweeting it.
Just so you guys know, he's trying to tweet. He's trying to be on top of these things. That's why he's doing double duty here.
It's that's a tough group. Group A. That is a tough group.
And Qatar, we
And
can't
it's one of those-
underestimate playing at home, and they're a good team.
Yeah, and it's one of those where you know what, you can't really pick definite 1 and 2 in that group.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Canada, we get drawn in Group B.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudis.
Okay.
Have to go to C. Yeah, if
Getting a
you're
good
the
look at
Netherlands
Gustavo
right now,
Alfaro.
you're
Saudi Arabia is going to be in Argentina, Mexico, Poland group. You avoid that one.
I need 2 other teams to get picked before us, and then I'll be okay with whatever happens.
watching Connor break down in real time has been just incredible.
Ideally, it's Group G or Group H.
Okay, so Saudi Arabia has to go into C.
Look,
So it's
And they'll face Argentina.
Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland. Interesting. Oh, and Saudi Arabia has the best looking coach in the.
Wait, no, that was the coach. I thought that was the Morocco coach.
Well,
No.
he used to be. Now Halil Hodzic is
Halil
the coach
Hodzic.
of Morocco.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting is Ghana can't be in the same group as the USA.
Remember Halil Hodzic, how good looking he was? Connor sweating.
No,
Here we go.
Hervé Renard is the coach of Saudi Arabia now, right? Is
Okay,
that-
yeah.
Yes.
But Halil
Yeah.
Hodzic they showed, and he just looks like $1 million. He's like, this
No, that's Hervé Renard.
No,
Okay.
yeah, no. Ronaldo is the.
It can't
Okay,
be
gotcha.
Group B
My bad. Sorry.
because it's Costa Rica, right? It can't be Group B.
Yes.
Yeah, Group B. So they'll move to Group.
Costa Rica plays either Solomon Islands or New Zealand.
No, New Zealand.
No,
I think is
New
right.
Or is New Zealand through?
Bill Tuiloma scored 2 goals against
Hervé
Solomon.
Renard. I'm sorry, I got
Wow,
that confused.
Bill Tuiloma.
Sorry to everyone
2
listening.
goals.
Thank God
Great.
Eric's here.
I know
E2.
good-looking guys, Max.
Oh.
I remember he was all the sensation 4 years ago, and
Yeah, he was a star in
and they kept
2018.
the production team's going, get the coach on camera 6 again and again. I don't care what's going on the field. Group B is set. Spain, New Zealand, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan. Interesting.
Okay, that makes me very happy.
Spain and Germany have to like their chances.
European playoff.
I don't want Group F.
Wales, Scotland, Ukraine.
So that'll go into B, no? Because they can have 2.
Yep, that's it. Perfect.
That's good for the U.S. That's a good group.
The only problem, you really don't know. You have no idea until I don't know. Eric, what's your thoughts? We want to know all 3 competitors so you can just start scouting now, or they got to wait till June?
No, you know what? I think you want to know. You want to start doing your homework.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now you got, and especially because there's 3. It's not 2 teams either. It's 3 possible teams. So now
Yeah.
you got to technically do homework on all.
Also, Cameroon and Ghana can't be in Group F. So it'll.
So
Wait, we're in
trying to
Group
say
F.
Canada's going to
Hammer, you're going to be the last team out of the hopper.
This is-
It's going to
Suffer.
be Canada and Portugal's group.
No,
Ooh.
no, they're going to get to move to Group G because they can't play against Morocco.
right.
Ghana's going to go to Group H because they can't play against Morocco, and Canada's going to slot in too. We know the. Okay, I'm not upset. That's okay.
So Portugal's going to get Ghana, Uruguay, Korea, and Canada's going to be with Belgium, Morocco, Croatia. Okay.
I will say, I really wanted to go in Group H. That would be really fun. Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea.
Ah, Sammy Eto'o.
They're taking pictures of it?
I mean, hey, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people.
Ghana, you are the last team out. You are the last team out, Connor, which means you're going to Group H.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I didn't want to face Ghana again, but it's gonna be tough.
Your group has teams with a lot of history with each other.
Yeah.
I will say, Group H could be, in a weird way, a group of death because of the level of play of the team.
Steven Vitória is going to score an own goal because he's Portuguese.
Oh, Marco Santos, Portugal, Canada.
Yep.
Yes,
No.
a good point.
No, Ghana has to
Go.
go.
Sorry.
No,
Wait, we jumped
Okay,
at
no.
Ghana to Group H.
Portugal,
No, Ghana
Ghana.
screwed up.
Yeah.
Our apologies. Ghana goes to Group H.
That's where I.
Wait, that didn't make.
No, that's where I was
Oh,
going.
You guys
gotcha,
not
gotcha.
listening to me
Portugal,
this
Ghana
entire
Because
has
of
time?
Morocco and
Yeah.
Ghana. Okay, I can't keep up.
Ghana,
with it.
Uruguay have history. There's a lot of history in that group.
Canada will be.
There
with
is a lot of
Belgium,
history in that group.
Morocco.
There's Luis
Ghana,
Suarez
Uruguay.
history in that group.
Yep.
That handball.
Would it be bad to say Luis Suarez is licking his lips? No?
He's probably
Had to be.
afraid his knees are going to be taken out.
Yes.
They have been taken out already to some degree by age, but I'll watch him score against Portugal now. I shouldn't have said that. What am I
You
doing?
shouldn't have said that.
I'm just messing with the football gods.
Well, and you got up and comer Darwin Nunez who's playing his football in Portugal.
Portugal, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
So as much as you're like Cavani, Suarez, they're a little bit older. Well, Darwin
Yeah.
Nunez slots in. You don't want to play against him.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very, very true. He's a wanted man right now.
Yep. He will not be playing in Portugal next season.
No, he will not.
So
There it is.
There it is.
And just
Connor,
like that, it's over.
you suffered to be the very last team pulled out of the pot.
I disagree. I was really dreading going in. I'm much happier. No, I'm much happier being in Group F than Group E.
look, this is interesting. And we look at so real quickly with the teams from CONCACAF Group C, Mexico's with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Poland. 4 points gets Mexico through that. I'm sure they'll be licking their chops for Saudi Arabia. Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. I don't see Canada getting through, but it's going to be a nice challenge. They could get a point or two there. Why not? Croatia's on they're still a great team, but it's not the team from 4 years ago. USA with England, Iran, and Europe, and Costa Rica I couldn't see there, but we'll fill you in on that.
You know what? I think Canada has a good chance of moving through in that group. There's a lot of parity in that group. A Belgian team that has choked in a lot of tournaments, not in the last World Cup. Of course, they finished third, but I think there's a possibility there. U.S. has to be very happy with their draw. These are interesting groups, and that's really good news for the World Cup.
This might just be my initial look at it, but I'm looking at all the groups, and there is a lot of parity throughout all the groups. Like, I feel like the talent's been distributed really. I mean, if you could just kind of like think of how to distribute the talent, this is kind of the way you would do it, I feel.
Yeah. I've just gotten a warning here that my headphones are running out of juice.
Oh, all right. We'll let Eric go. Eric, you've been great to join us.
Eric.
Thank you for the history lesson, by the way, man. You're like an encyclopedia of World Cups here. We love it.
Oh, not as much as Connor. Connor was on fire today. But
Yeah,
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
We'll see you down the road when Charlotte LAFC play. We appreciate you, Eric. Good stuff, man.
You will see me at there at Bank of California Stadium. You will see me. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, Eric.
All right.
That was Eric Krakauer. Great.
It was good. He really knows
Great
his
perspective on obviously being with Charlotte, the Swiderski in Poland, and then his ties to Portugal. Yeah, Connor, you and him, man, going shot for shot on World Cup history and the groups and stuff. That's the stuff that I don't retain. Who played in groups with other teams?
Well, it's based off of like age, right? I only know a certain amount, right? I can't tell you what the groups were like in 2006, but I can tell you what they were like in 2018.
Yeah, like honestly, now that you say that, I'm like racking my brain to remember, because Italy obviously won in 2006. They had the U.S., Ghana, Czech Republic. See, I don't even remember Italy's group. I remember the rest of the run-through things, but I don't even remember their group from 2006. I think that's right, though.
I'm going to say it. I think the group of death, Group H. I think it's anyone's game to get out of that.
Group H is, because you have, I think,
a lot of parity. Uruguay playing.
Uruguay we have to see, because they weren't great in qualifying. I mean, they got good at the end.
Once they made the change to Diego Alonso, they changed their football. I think it rejuvenated Cavani and Suarez a little bit, and then they just brought through all these youngsters. They got Valverde. They have Torreira's playing well. Darwin Nunez, who we've already brought up. It's interesting. I think that was a good change. And to Eric's point, Portugal is kind of one of those teams that probably maybe would have liked to do something like that too, to start integrating.
Oh, we mentioned Costa Rica. I believe that's where they would fall if they beat New Zealand, right? Spain, Germany, Japan.
Yes.
There's not a. I don't think we can say group of death. Even though a couple of years ago people said stop using group of death. COVID, get lost. It is tried, tested. We love it, and stop lecturing us. Got it off my head chest.
I think the U.S. and Mexico should be very happy with their draws. I think both of them have a clear shot of making it out of the group now, based off of the opponent they drew. I think Mexico on their day could beat Poland. I think they'll beat Saudi Arabia, and I think there's an argument to be made that they could maybe pick up a point or three against Argentina.
Look, it's a tough group for Canada, but I think that's a nice group for them. You get to face a heavy in Belgium, which I think they could be competitive with. I'm not saying they're going to beat them or get a tie, but I think they're going to run with them. They may lose 3 games, but they're going to be competitive in those 3 games. USA is not afraid of England. England's on the back end, and they got issues. because of that back line. You know, there's concerns. Harry Kane hasn't been informed this season, so it's not the team that we saw 2 years ago, or definitely not 4 years ago. Okay, we got another guest. Very happy to welcome in George Metellus of BeIN Sports. George, joining us from Miami. You saw the draw, I presume.
Yes, sir.
as he rubs his chin.
What is making you happy?
Oh my goodness, what is making me happy? That's a great question. Woo! Well, I think the fact that the World Cup is about to start in a couple of months, that's making me happy. But I'm looking forward to that England USA matchup. I think that's going to be interesting. I've always felt that England was the most overrated footballing nation on the planet. I think they're overhyped. I think US can take them down. So that's something that when I saw that, I was like, wow, okay. And then we had the African Cup of Nations. So I was always looking at the African teams, and Senegal, they're in a tough group.
Lost George, but I want to get his thoughts about the AFCON, because he did cover that because it's unknown. And we got to change that, because there's so much talent in Africa now more than ever, at least visible talent. I mean, there was great talent, but when you look at Mohamed Salah, Riyad Mahrez, Sadio Mane, Koulibaly, by the way, they had the who plays at Napoli, they had the wages come out, and he's like at the top.
Well, Koulibaly's been the, top 3 center back in Serie A, and that says a lot because it's in Serie A. I mean, teams like Manchester United, big teams have come in for him, and every year, I think De Laurentiis has had to up his wages a little bit to make sure he doesn't leave, because he's that team.
George, we want to get your thoughts because you did the AFCON. So we have these 5 teams that we all should know a lot about. Obviously, Egypt and Algeria missing out. It's a huge miss for AFCON, because those are teams, in my estimation, and I would love to hear what you have to say, could make a quarterfinal. You know, they certainly have the talent to. Making it's a different story. The 5 teams that we have, and you look at the groups, who are the ones to watch?
Can you say that again? I was breaking up a little bit. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
We were talking about the AFCON teams. Of the 5 that are in there, who are the ones, based on the groups, that could make a real impact in Qatar? Oh,
we're having some technical difficulties.
But he looks so cozy on his balcony there.
Miami.
George's man, he watches a lot of football. I'd love to get his reaction on here, but
George came in with the fire take. England most overrated nation in world football. I don't know if I don't disagree.
I wouldn't say the thing that happens when people say a team is overrated, people are like, well, no, they're good. They can be good, but overrated.
No, of course. Look, all English players' values are inflated, and I would say that their run through the Euros was largely based off of set pieces, which in tournament play, set pieces are a huge weapon, and which can really help England. But if you can limit those, and going into it, and you kind of know what that England's wanting to play for set pieces, I think you can neutralize them in a lot of ways. And then the weather.
Listen, I shouldn't have gone on Twitter, so I said that's not bad for Canada. Not bad for Canada. And everyone's like, Canada has no shot of getting out. They're in pot 4. They're not supposed to have a shot in getting out.
Right.
They don't have a shot, but they have a shot, but they're not supposed to have a shot.
Belgium has a lot of quality, high talent players, but they are at the kind of they're almost like Uruguay in a way. We're kind of wondering what they have left. Yeah, they're at the end of their cycle. Romelu Lukaku has not been in form at all. Kevin De Bruyne has been in and out of the lineup with injuries.
That's not to say that the quality isn't there for teams like Belgium and Croatia. Morocco is really good in their own right, but again, this is Canada drawing in the same group with the 3rd place finish in the last World Cup and the 2nd place finish in the last World Cup.
By the way, I'm feeling better about our George.
Yeah, we've had some technical difficulties, but hearing Weston McKennie talk like a robot, I guess it goes all around. Technology these days.
I like his black curtain.
Yeah, he's got it. He just pulls the curtain raiser, the curtain closer.
There you go.
Is that exciting? The Qatar, Ecuador to open it up? It's like, I bet you it's their first meeting ever.
Not what Qatar, Netherlands would have been.
You know what, Max? Not as exciting as Russia, Saudi Arabia in 2018.
This is true. Fire takes.
Wait.
So there's a chance that 2 LAFC players could be a part of the opening match of a World Cup.
Yep.
Cool.
Is Cheeky Palacios really going to start?
Well, Sifu is the one farther on the outside than Cheeky. If Estupiñán's not good, if Estupiñán's not playing well leading up to it or gets an injury, Cheeky's the left back. All right, George is back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
it's the
Miami. When you live closer to Dolphin Stadium, this is going to happen with technical difficulties.
Yeah. But you have a great look. You have a great view of the flybys when there's a Super Bowl there. So we're coming to your house for that place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the traffic is not that bad. Traffic is not that bad by my spot here, but close to the stadium. Yeah. Hopefully, well, we were supposed to host the game, World Cup match in '94 when it was in the United States, but the damn Marlins had rights over the stadium, so we wound up missing out on hosting a World Cup match in '94 for the stupid ass Marlins. But excuse my language, but that's just
no.
Everyone hates the Miami Marlins.
The Marlins
everyone hates the Miami Marlins in Miami.
They ruin a lot of things. They do ruin a lot of things.
We would have a stadium in Dade County if it wasn't for the Marlins, but that's a different subject.
Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And the Marlins are borderline a professional team. But we digress. Let's go back to what we really brought you here for, George. Max was asking you of those teams that got through the grueling AFCON qualifying, who's the team after you've seen the groups that we should be looking out for that could maybe make a deep run?
Yeah, I like Morocco. Ashraf Hakimi, there's Hakim Ziyech, Yusuf El-Nesiri. Look, they play some attractive football, and they should have. I think was it in the quarterfinals they lost to Egypt, if I remember correctly. But they play good football. They have a squad, and they play a fast, attractive football, very direct. I like Morocco, and they're in a group with Canada, Belgium, and Croatia, and we don't know the strength of Croatia. So I like Morocco. I'm telling you, look out for Morocco. I know people are going to look at.
We have a Canadian here in Connor, and his head just dipped when you mentioned Morocco because he was already worried about Belgium and Croatia. Now he has to deal with Morocco. And I agree, man. I think that's the best team out of Africa.
Yeah.
Because I would have said Algeria, but now Morocco, I thought they looked good in the AFCON. They stubbed their toes in the semis against Egypt, you said, and they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
They went to the last World Cup.
Way too early predictions. Morocco and Canada getting out of the group with Belgium and Croatia.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. I'm telling you, there's this curse. We all know about the curse of the World Cup. The finalists of the previous World Cup don't really do too well the following World Cup. So over the last, 4 or 5 World Cup tournaments. So don't be surprised if Croatia don't get out the group, and because of that curse, maybe France don't get out of their group. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's possible if kind of history repeats itself. So,
France
but I'm telling
my giant to crash out first.
It's like we had Eric Krakauer here, and he said they were the favorites, but it's hard to ramp it all up. Yeah. And once you've had that experience to go through it, we saw France back. Was it '98? It was the same thing. It was kind of a meltdown. They lost to Senegal in the curtain raiser. And then
right.
But by the way,
there's a great documentary on Netflix about the French national team from the early 90s to about 2010 and they covered that meltdown in South Africa. It's really interesting on Netflix.
I gotta add to the list. My wife's gonna kill me because all this to-do list is sports related. So it's bad enough I watch sports, now I watch documentaries on sports. She's gonna leave the house.
My goodness!
It is really good. Players talking about how they were like, "We're not training." They got on the bus and then they got text to get off the bus. We're gonna train, and just the whole mutiny. You're right. That's great, George. I'm looking at Ghana. I'm looking at Senegal, and Ghana's not what they used to be, and they've also in a group that's tough. But who's got it tougher? I think some people would say Senegal's got an easy group, but whenever you play the hosts. You never know what you're going to quite get. So where are you thinking between those two teams? Who's got the better route to get out?
Oh, the better route to get out is probably Senegal, because Qatar, look, they're the host nation, but they haven't proven themselves in a World Cup. Ecuador is a great story, and they got through in qualifying in the top 4, which was impressive. I think Senegal could beat those two teams. I really do. I think Senegal have the players. Also, I love Aliou Cissé, the manager of Senegal. I think he's a very clever, astute manager. So I think he can get past. If he gets 6 points out of those two off of Qatar and Ecuador, he's through. Netherlands is going to be a problem, but I think Senegal have it a little bit easier in their group compared to Ghana, because the Ghana have, first of all, Korea.
Yeah, the Korean team's not a joke.
I think we lost his Dolphin Stadium.
Oh no.
So, by the way,
I want to find a way to blame the Marlins again.
Oh, okay. I still hear you guys.
He's there. Okay.
Okay.
It sounded like you cut.
Okay. My bad. Yeah, Miami Gardens is Wi-Fi over here. But
that's my bad. I guessed incorrectly.
Max jumping.
Yeah. But Korea is going to be difficult. We know that Japan, Korea are very well organized teams. They're very difficult to break down, and they're a lot more skillful than people give them credit for. And the Portugal and Uruguay, I mean, that's tough for Ghana. Portugal for Uruguay. Portugal playing for Cristiano's last World Cup, probably the last World Cup for Cavani and Suarez. I heard you guys talk about the coaching change from El Maestro Tavares to Diego Alonso and how that completely rejuvenated Uruguay, got them through. So I think Senegal have it easier compared to Ghana.
You came in here with fire on England. So we got who you think is the most overrated of the pot one teams, but who's your favorite? We said Eric liked France, and I'm more on a Brazil side. Who's your favorite going into this?
Favorite of the whole shebang bang.
Yeah.
The whole Mundial, Coupe du Monde, as my family would say. Ooh, you know what? I'm trying. See, my family's huge Brazil fans, so I want to say Brazil, and the way they dominated. And the way they dominated CONMEBOL qualifying, were undefeated, and they really weren't tested at all. Couple of draws, but by then they had kind of tuned out. I'll say Brazil, but there's one caveat. Neymar has to be in shape, he has to be motivated, and he can't hold the ball too damn long. That's his biggest problem. If he can set up his teammates and make runs off the ball and not hold the ball for so long and become a target for the opposition teams, I think Brazil have the talent to go through, and I think Tite is one of the best managers in all of world football. So I would say Brazil's a favorite, but it's a slight favorite.
Well, I'm going to say this. There's two important dates we have to look out for with Neymar. When's his birthday and when's his sister's birthday? As long as they're not anywhere around this tournament, we know we can maybe get a fit.
Man, I think you are on it.
Well, I think it passed already, because Carnival happened in February, March. So I think they passed already.
Okay,
I think
time to get in shape then.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They got to be less reliant on Neymar, I feel, and same with Argentina on Lionel Messi, because when he's been more of a collective, they were great, and I think Messi gets it. That's why I think Argentina is a real player here. We're gonna bring in Juan Arango as well. We can have 4 folks up here.
Oh, we're gonna go $4.
Listen, Juan Arango just did the draw for Al Jazeera, so he's living this, loving it, and we'll get his thoughts. And I want to say one quick thing, because I was not aware of this, but it's a little different, the schedule. The opening day has 4 games. So it's Qatar, Ecuador. USA will play on that opening day. So get your coffee. Call in sick for work, whatever November 21st is.
Coffee? What are you talking about, coffee?
Maybe something stronger.
No, dude. Look, some people.
Cerveza, I'm sorry.
Especially you on the West Coast, it'll be almost like 2 a.m. You're just getting out of your house.
It's what? Doha is what, 7 hours? Yeah.
3 a.m.
Doha is 7 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like midnight.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
We'll be at a bar.
At a bar.
It's gonna be like watching the royal wedding all morning. Sitting
I think you say the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and by that I mean we were gonna be at a bar, and then we're like, oh, did you remember the World Cup was gonna be starting today?
Juan,
I'll tell you something. I was talking to one of my friends in Argentina. They're saying bars are going to be opening at that time, like 6, 7 a.m., just like they did in Korea. During Korea, Japan, they opened during that time. Well, it's going to be packed.
In Korea, in Los Angeles, they came in and said we can only serve tea and coffee, and then an hour they're like, all right, come here. Let's open up the.
Yeah.
Come on.
Long Island iced tea and Irish coffee. That's what they were talking about.
Juan, the draw came out. It's we were looking for a group of death. I don't know if there was like a clear-cut one, but your initial thoughts, maybe from the perspective of, we talked to, and I know because you are embedded with South American football. I learned so much from you. From the South American perspective, George was talking about how Brazil is the favorite, but certain things have to fall into place. Brazil, Argentina, surprises from the other South American teams, perhaps?
Well, I like the group that Ecuador's in, and I've seen them during World Cup qualifying, and they look like a team. I mean, I'm not going to say that Ecuador is going to be a semifinalist, but if you start looking at what Ecuador can do within that group, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of that group. But then again, I hate using the term group of death. It just sounds so trite at this stage of the game. But that's a very even-keeled type of group. If you look at Qatar and how they played going back to the Asian Cup, seeing how they played in Copa America and seeing what they could do in their own backyard and also seeing what they were able to do in the Gold Cup, it's a team that is very balanced. Maybe you start looking at Akram Afif, and as always, is those two players that can make a difference up top, but do they have enough gas? And I think that they can do that. We saw that in the Gold Cup, that towards the end of matches, they tended to kind of end up on fumes. And having a Senegal and a Netherlands ends up making it that much more interesting. But no, I agree with you guys. There's no group of death if you want to look at it from that perspective.
The USA group, England, Iran, USA, the Euro playoff team, which will be Scotland, Ukraine, or Wales. How do you view that from an American perspective? And I know you're not American, but just an American perspective, from my perspective.
No. I think it's promising. Except when they play England. I look, Iran can cause them trouble. Why? Iran can cause the U.S. a lot of trouble, and many in the U.S. should be starting to scout the teams that they're playing instead of just saying, "Hey, USA #1." Iran, from a defensive standpoint, is a team that's very conservative, is a team that causes a lot of problems in those types of sectors, especially in that final quarter of the pitch, where they can end up being a menace to the U.S. From a defensive standpoint. Offensive, I don't think that match will be one where the U.S. will end up having a lot of problems when it comes to Iran. Against England, I just think England are better than the U.S. by a lot. I think England are much better than the U.S. in that particular one. Now, that last spot ends up being a wild card. Who ends up being the team that comes in? Is it going to be Ukraine? Is it going to be Scotland? Is it going to be Wales? And if I start looking at those three teams, they might be better than, or actually the U.S. might be better than them. So we'll see how they play. So it's a case of how does the U.S. come into this tournament? Do they come in sky high, arrogant, cocky, or do they come in, hey, you know what? We got to get our work done. We have to understand who we're playing against and be able to get the job done in certain places and come in with a bit of humility and be able to come in and understand what they're up against and be able to handle it properly.
Yeah, U.S. is better in terms of man for man. The only team in the group that's better than them is England. So if you look at
getting to the round of 16, it's about getting through the round of 16.
Yeah,
exactly.
After that, yeah.
Yeah. But
you want to talk about being cocky, Juan? What about England?
No, but I think about this. Two different England teams. That England team was just a bunch of entitled players thinking that they were better than everybody else. This team, I think you see a bit more humility from the coach going down.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we don't have Robert Green in goal for the U.S. either.
No, but they do have Jordan Pickford.
So he's better than
that can be an issue, but still, if you look at this England team, I think there's a bit more promise, a bit more potential, and they actually want to play for England. Look, I was with England before the 2014 World Cup when they were training down here in Miami. As soon as they got off the bus to go into the hotel, I said, they're not getting out of the first round because of the conditions, because of the attitude that they came in with. So it's a totally different generation in terms of what England are now compared to what they were in 2014 and the transition that they began to make in 2018.
That's fair. Connor, as a Canadian fan, questions for our panel here.
I mean, do you think it's realistic Canada even picks up a point? I mean, Morocco.
Let's go over the Canada group. Let's go over the Canada group.
I'm just saying, Morocco, Croatia, Belgium. I don't think it could have been any worse for Canada. That being said, when you get to a World Cup, we can
look. It could have been worse. They could have been in Portugal and Uruguay's group. Or in Spain and Germany's group. It could have been worse. Yeah, it could have been worse.
But you're the best team in CONCACAF right now, right?
Oh, spin, baby.
Max, look, and
No,
you,
I'm
George,
saying
are laughing.
that's an absolute fair statement.
You and George are laughing, right? The one word I haven't heard from Canadians and the U.S. is the word obligation. Never do I hear from the U.S. And obviously Canada are making a transition. I'm super happy that they've been able to get to the World Cup. I hope that they kick ass during the World Cup. But you never hear obligation. Look, we're the best team in CONCACAF right now. We need to go out and show them exactly what we can do, especially with the generation that you're boasting about. Go out there and show it. Don't go and say, well, I don't know if we're going to get a point now. Come on, you waited 36 damn years to be able to get to a World Cup. Show up. Don't get all negative now. Go after it.
Go after it. Yeah.
This is a team that can go.
I think that's what the coach is saying.
Yeah, I don't think it's a team that's going to go 3 and out, not score a goal like they did in 1986. Yeah. It's a team that's going to compete. And let's be honest, right now, this generation is going to be fine-tuned for 2026. If they get knocked out and perform well in the first stage, in the group stage, I think they're going to be tremendous come 2026. But they have to go out and not be scared about it.
If you guys saw Maxime Crépeau, although joking after they qualified for the World Cup, he said on camera, he's like, "No, we're going to Qatar to win. We're going there. Go all the way."
No, that's fine.
They need to develop that Marc Messier attitude. You know, get that damn Marc Messier attitude and be like, you know what? God damn it, we're Canada. We're the best in CONCACAF. We're gonna take it to these dudes.
There's no hockey talk on this program.
No, that's fine. Let's go even a step more.
But Canada's a great hockey nation, so I try to make that parallel.
Attitude.
Yeah.
Get away from the Mexico attitude. Well, we're happy if we go to the 5th game. If we get to the quarterfinals, we're happy. Screw that.
That's the only goal of Mexico is the 5th game.
We're good.
Yeah, they are so locked in on that.
Yeah.
And they've been there before. That's the scary part.
It's
people forget that.
Well, let's look at the opponents. I mean, the Canadian perspective is a very good one, Juan. But Belgium, I thought probably a much more talented team 4 years ago, got a little older in tooth, depending on who gets selected. Still an incredible squad. I'm just saying in comparison from the last 4 years, Croatia, definitely a better team 4 years ago, 2 years ago than now.
Yep.
Morocco's the one that's in the ascendancy. Granted, they're not at the level with these two, but, as George was pointing out how talented they are, and that's going to be tricky because I think people are immediately going to say Canada's got to get a result there. But maybe
we'll look at the way it plays out. Belgium will play Canada first, right? So Canada will get an idea of where they're at in that first game, and if they, to Juan's point, if they show up, and I think they can against Belgium, who again Canada knows who they are. Belgium is still kind of wondering, are we a golden generation still? Do we know what's going on here? If Canada even lose, I mean, I don't want to say they lose, but let's say it's a good performance as a 1-0 loss. You got to be buoyed going into those next games, and you could do some damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in that group, you might only need one win to be able to get through.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like I said, I'm not saying Canada are going to be world champions or any team's going to be a world champion. It's just that I think they're a competitive enough team that understand what they play and have a good awareness collectively, that they going into these types of matches can cause a lot of problems. Outside of the result, well, no one really knows. It's just that I can see Canada being able to give these teams a major headache.
Right.
Agreed.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
There was a question about how the U.S.'s performance will be viewed. The big hurdle that they cleared is making this World Cup, and what do they? So we could all chime in on this. How good does the U.S. have to do for it to be a success, or does the fact that we qualified again erase all of that, even if we don't advance to the second round? I think with the group, the fact that you're in pot 2 means you got to make the round of 16. That is anything less than that. Bring on the Hounds, because the draw was very favorable in that sense. It's not an easy group. There's no easy groups, but that criteria has put you in a position, because it doesn't happen all the time, where you're in this kind of spot. So I'm not saying make a deep run, but once you get to the round of 16, things can happen. But the round of 16 is the goal. Anything less is a disappointment.
And much like much like Canada, they're a team that is locked and loaded on 2026. So to have
and this is to build for 2026.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, if you have that ascendant curve in the proper direction, first and foremost, and in the proper angle heading towards 2026, it's going to be favorable. I mean, like I said, can the U.S. get through? Yeah, they can get through. I think actually, I'm going to use the word, they're obligated to get through.
Yeah,
Right.
they should.
And
Yeah.
and if they don't, then yeah, they deserve all the criticism in the world, starting with Greg Berhalter. Now it's going to be, how does Greg Berhalter come into this World Cup? Is he going to be like, well, guys, let's just drop back and use that more of as a defense mechanism against certain teams, or is it going to be, well, let's wait and see? I mean, it ends up being the big question mark there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I work with Thomas Rangan, who has a great knowledge of inside the U.S. national team setup. And he told me, he said, look, we want to obviously qualify for this World Cup, especially after what happened in 2018 or for the 2018. But the goal is to get the team together ready so that they can win it in 2026. That's the goal. So this tournament, they want to do well, make a deep run if they can, but it's all about preparing for a massive run in 2026 so that the United States can win the World Cup. So that's what he told me. So this is you hate to say that this World Cup is a tune-up, but it kind of is. And as long as they get out the group stage, play some attractive football, develop the footballers, they get that cohesion, and Berhalter kind of figure some things out tactically, then this should be good. Then everything is set up for 2026. But for this World Cup, they have to get out the group stage. Anything less than that I think, would be a failure.
I agree. Like, for the U.S. and I will say Canada, just play convincing football, play attractive football. Look, results are results, and if the game doesn't go your way and you don't even make the knockout rounds, if you play and make a statement, then I think that'll be a success regardless of the result.
And don't forget that. I'm sorry, Max. I just made
go,
this
George.
quick
Go
thing.
ahead.
Don't forget, the world doesn't expect anything out of the United States and Canada, so there's no pressure.
Yes,
There's no pressure.
And I'm telling you right now, in England, and rightfully so, and I think England's going to get 9 points in this group, but that's what the English media is saying across the board. They're looking at this group with maybe they get Scotland, which would be a really compelling, Iran and Ukraine. They're going to get 9 points here. Those European teams are way down the pecking order in the UEFA charts, so they're expected to lose to England. So in England right now, the press will go, wow, we crushed it with this. And they're looking at USA as easy prey, as they should. This is a very raw USA team. Can they compete against England? Yes. Could this game end up all of a sudden England getting 2-3 goals early? Absolutely.
But also keep in mind the expectations for England are much different compared to what anyone in that group is having. England is expected to be a semifinalist or be in the fight to be a semifinalist. And if they're not looking, I mean, it's another generation as well, save for maybe a Harry Kane or a couple other players already in their late 20s that for the most part are also building to 2026 and may be able to win it in 2026 as well. Keep in mind the generations that are coming in with the Phil Fodens, with the Raheem Sterlings and the like. So you start to see an England side that not only is a contender, but also has that combination of youth and experience that are going to be very favorable for the next couple of World Cup cycles.
Do we've said that
don't forget, before I forget, England, USA the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But USA and England will play on the opening day in those 4 games on the 21st of November.
I'm just curious because we keep saying you can never, it's not just a tune-up to 2026, but a lot of what we've been talking about is how a lot of these teams have a generation coming through. Shouldn't England be worried at all that they don't meld properly? Because I'm looking at a player like Jude Bellingham probably deserves to start in this England team, but they didn't use him much in the Euros, and he's probably wondering, where do I fit in? And maybe his coach is thinking, you fit into 2026. Can that cause problems? And that's just an example. But I'm wondering, should there be worries about teams that kind of have that guise of 2026? Let's get ready. Let's get a knockout game. Let's get ready for 2026 with the next group coming through.
Well, I think it all depends on expectations, right? Like, as Juan mentioned, it's all about expectations. England, they have some young players coming up, but anything less than the expectations that the British press set for that England national team is going to be a disappointment. I think US and Canada can be more realistic about their expectations for this tournament and then going forward in 2026. So I think depending on the expectations of either team, but England, Gareth Southgate better get his selection right. And I know there's a little bit of, in England throughout their history, there's a favoritism for those that play in the Premier League. But if those are good outside of the Premier League, he needs to drop that mentality and just find the best 23 he can and put him in the squad. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think it just depends on expectations. England did in the last World Cup, in the Euros. A lot of people are expecting England, or not a lot of people. I'll say the British people are expecting.
Don't be saying that too loud, because the people in Ireland aren't going to be saying that.
And remember how the Euros ended, so there's like a bad taste in their mouth for sure.
Yeah. I have to make sure to say English instead of UK and Great Britain and all that, because that's confusing to me. But anyway, the point is, I think it's all about expectations. The CONCACAF teams can focus on 2026 because the CONCACAF nations are hosting the tournament. Everywhere else, those European teams, they want to do well in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at England's last call up, or one of the recent call ups. There was only one player that was over 30 years old. That was Jordan Henderson. So you do have some youth and players, of course, that are 29. Case in point, or 28 is case in point. Harry Kane, Tyrone Mings is 29. You also have Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, 29. So you start to see those types of players, and you start talking about Harry Maguire. How is he going to be able to perform? And is someone going to be able to get him or compete for his spot on the English national team? That'll be interesting to see. So, I mean, they're a contender. They're one of those teams that are expecting to get as deep as possible in the World Cup that they can. And, as far as the U.S. is concerned, if they get out of the group stage, I think that they can see themselves as satisfied. Anything after that is just, hey, you know what? That's a bigger celebration.
Ice cream on the apple pie after that. Yeah.
Quick look at Mexico, and I want to get like a real prediction from anyone here who they think. I know we have to look at the groups, and it's going to be difficult, but hey, this is pie in the sky. We're 7 months out. Mexico, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland. We talked about the goal for Mexico is el quinto partido, which is to get to the quarterfinals, which they continue to fall short in. Famously in 2002 against the United States, famously in 2014 against the Netherlands. I think they get to a round of 16 again. That Mexico-Poland game, which is the first game, will be very, very telling. I have to believe the attacking options are going to get better. They didn't have it during qualifying, but Mexico does have a way with that. Do they get to the round of 16? Do they get to the quarterfinals? I say they get to the round of 16.
Ooh. Juan, you want to go first with this one or me?
It all depends on who they play in the round of 16, but
you end up looking at what, Group D? They could end up playing France.
Yep. And then they're not going to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. I agree with
that. They could end up playing France or Denmark. Right. Poison.
Yeah, Juan, you commented earlier just about their attitude going into this. I mean, we had a show yesterday where we were talking to Mariano Trujillo, and he was like, "Hey, they're not happy." I go, "When are they ever happy?" So, I want to ask you: has that attitude ever been lower? But I mean, it feels like it's always low.
It's been lower, but the thing is, it's sometimes never been higher. I remember. Look, I was in Mexico prior to the World Cup in 2006. And this is actually a couple of days before they played Argentina. And on Mexican television, you would see all the journalists wearing their green jerseys and saying, "We're going to beat Argentina because Argentina has no history."
That's like the funniest thing I've ever heard.
No!
Wow.
So let's start out with that. When you hear the Mexican media, and when they talk about Mexico, you think you're listening about Germany or Brazil or Argentina. Yeah. And look, whatever I say on social media, I'm going to say to you straight up. It's not. I mean, what you see is what you get, and in those particular cases, but Mexico don't have a very good generation right now, and it's actually a team that maybe is even leaning towards aging as well. And you don't see players coming up, but that's more an administrative thing. You have to look at Mexico, not from an on-pitch standpoint. You have to look at them from outside and how the Mexican FA is organized, what the Mexican FA prioritize, which is the business end, not the performance end. And you start to see that. And Mexican clubs, they prioritize winning over development. That's why they end up bringing in the not high profile, but the more expensive South Americans, or in Tigres' case, the two
Frenchies.
You have André Pierre Gignacs,
And
the
Thauvin.
yeah, you have to start to bring in those players, the Vincent Janssens, and you end up leaving players that at one point were silver medalists in the last Olympics. You had a team that won the under 17 World Cup twice. You still have a generation of players going through, and many of them never had a chance in Mexican football. So a lot of them ended up going to the second division playing. George did a lot of the Ascenso, when it was called back then. The Liga de Expansión is called.
Don't remind me, man. Don't remind me.
You would have a lot of those players, and you'd go and you do commentary for those matches. Oh yeah, he was part of the under 17 team that won the World Cup and never got a chance with his team. So Mexico have a lot of, I mean, if you start peeling the skin off the onion and start going in deeper layers, there's other problems, not necessarily result oriented, that do affect the end product, which is seeing Mexico play as of right now. And you start to have all those types of issues with the Mexican national team in terms of development. That's why, is there anyone else not named Chicharito to be able to come through? It's not a knock on Chicharito. It's just like, well, is someone else coming through?
Yeah.
Who else is coming through with the Mexican national team? Santiago Jimenez has been an eternal promise, and yet he doesn't get a chance.
Now it's Marcelo Flores.
Yeah. Great nickname.
I mean, Max, you hear Marcelo Flores at 17, 18, and you start to remember a lot of Christian Pulisic when he was 17, 18, and being the savior of the United States back in the 2016 Copa America.
But he's singular. Flores is like, okay, and I mean, we have Pulisic, but there's something about a supporting cast brewing about the U.S. which is much more appealing. Let's wrap. Yeah, I know.
But
it's
not
true.
then, though.
Not then.
But
not
now,
then.
Point taken on what you said about
I was
Marcelo
going to
Flores,
I was going to say something. Yeah, you're very fair. I was going to say something about who could win it. We'll wrap it up on here. Let's pick a team that's going to make it further along that people are not expecting, AKA the dark horse. Can make it past the group stages. I was going to just throw out Canada, Connor. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I think maybe there's the stars line. I think playing in Qatar helps them too.
Mine was before the draw, and yes, they have history, but I really liked Uruguay. I thought with the change that they had made, with some of the young players coming through, that they could be a team that could make some waves. But now in the draw that they have, it's a tough group, and if you're gonna, Diego Alonso has some new ideas, but if he leans into the Cavani's and the Suarez's instead of the youngsters because he wants experience in a tough group, then I worry about them. But I'll stick with Uruguay. They're my possible surprise package, despite, of course, they've won World Cups, but they would be my possible surprise.
Okay, that's a good pick. Good shout.
Go ahead, George.
You know what? I'm going to stick with Morocco. I like that squad. I like what I saw from them in the AFCON, and I think they have a good young team. I like Morocco. I'm gonna say Morocco in the dark horse to make it past the group stage.
I hope it's a good World Cup for Africa. I mean, it would be such a game changer for the sport, and it's so needed. This breath of fresh air with these great stars developing, but we've waited. Look, African teams, I think Senegal has a very good draw, so they should be able to do some magic.
Yeah, honorable mention, Senegal.
I'd say Ecuador because of the group too, but
I like Ecuador.
I'm going to go say this is not a dark horse, but a team that may be in a semifinal. When you see
classic
that they're not
last
doing
words when you say this is not a dark horse, but are you going to drop like a Germany or something here?
Denmark, because I've always said about France. I think in that group, I think Denmark was on the Euros pragmatic when they were dealt a really bad card, found a way, and I think there's a real collective spirit. So maybe that's
no one has said Holland
Yeah.
yet.
Ooh. That's a good one.
They could win a group.
Yeah, the group is winnable for them. Yeah. Just quickly, Denmark, they have two really good. They have Dolberg of Nice, and then they have this guy, Andreas Cornelius, who is formed to win the goal scoring title in Turkey. So you have two strikers that are really performing well heading into that World Cup. So Denmark is a good shout.
You know what? I'll also go on the record and say, although I want to just like hype up Canada right now, but I think US in their group has a fair shot to make it out of the group stage and maybe make a good run.
If Netherlands wins Group A, which I think we expect, and the USA finishes second, Group B, that's your round of 16. So,
Juan, who are you thinking? Surprise!
You know what? You guys took the ones I was gonna pick. I was gonna pick Denmark
and give us even better criteria.
Denmark. They're coming in good form. I like Senegal. Senegal's just seems so solid in all aspects of their game. I mean, I really enjoyed seeing
They've won a lot.
and be and be able to
Great goalkeeper too. Great goalkeeper too.
Look at their line. If you look at their starting lineup, you're like, do they even have they have, oh no, we're happy if we just get here? No, absolutely not. If you're Senegal, no one.
And they came close to getting out of the group stage last time. To Senegal too.
Did no one mention Spain because they expect them to get to quarterfinals or in that phase? Okay.
And this is the beginning of a new generation for them. We saw that at the back of the end of the Euros, which they went on this incredible run afterwards, making the semis.
Yeah,
that's a potential.
Well, they got to the final
winner.
of the Nations League too. I mean, as well. So
Mhm.
I mean, those were the ones I wanted to pick. I'll probably go with Qatar. I've seen them play in Copa America. I liked what I saw.
And the Gold Cup.
I saw what they did in the Gold Cup. We see the track record and the constant. They're a team that is, hey, where can we play? Where can we get the best possible matchups? Let's go. And outside of the result, doesn't matter. We're looking to build for this. This is our showcase piece, and they're the ones that are going to be maybe not with the same obligation, let's say, as a Brazil back in 2014, but they're a team that has been playing for this moment. So maybe that's going to be a factor we'll end up seeing, but maybe that's another team to be looking at because of how they play and how well they're able to execute it.
One word, pick your winner. I always pick Brazil, and I can't do it again because they've steered me wrong. I'm going to go with Spain based on this last conversation we just had. Why not? And last time the World Cup was outside the epicenter of Europe or South America.
Or South America, yeah.
Spain made it. Spain did it. South Africa.
Yeah.
That was this.
Yeah. I'll go Brazil because the first time they played a World Cup outside of the Americas or Europe, Brazil won it in Korea, Japan. So I'm going to pick Brazil.
Damn, that's smart. It's true. Good data.
I'm going to go with Argentina just because it's the first time since 1986 that Canada got to a World Cup. There you go. I hope you feel better.
Oh, hey.
Oh, I like that.
No chance for hand of God, though, because of VAR.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
VAR would take away any hand of God chance. But Messi, if Messi could score the other goal from that match, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be cool.
with Canada. Maxime,
on.
Yes.
Going there to win.
No, wait. We can't.
You started this, Juan. You said they've got to have an obligation, and now Connor says we have an obligation. We're winning.
You're right. I can't say anything. I told him, hey, be daring, and he ended up being that. So I can't say no. You're wrong. You can't do that. Not Canada. You can't pick Canada. No. What am I going to say? Come on, yeah.
It would be sweet if they win it, though. It would be sweet. Let's say they get to quarterfinals. It would be so sweet if they get to the quarterfinals.
It would be. Yes, absolutely.
I've kept going Brazil. I want to change. I'm with Juan. I'm going to go Argentina, just because
they're so good because of this system.
And it feels
they
like
don't make mistakes. They don't give up goals. They got a good
feels
keeper.
like Lionel Messi is having fun. And if he's having fun, and if he's the tip of the spear as opposed to the guy that goes all the way back to the goalkeeper to pick up the ball, beat 9 men, and score, they can be good. So I like them. I like DePaul as a player in their midfield. So I like
Paredes, DePaul. That's a great engine room.
Lautaro Martinez is a good scorer. Yeah.
Romero's a good defender.
Angel Di Maria is having a sensational time with the Argentine with the national team.
And credit Lionel Scaloni. When Scaloni took over, it was an interim basis. Nobody thought he was going to keep the job, but he has managed to turn things around for Argentina. They're playing better. You can see they're having more fun. Messi is enjoying it. He's singing during the national anthems now. So Lionel Scaloni has done a magnificent job with Argentina.
Yeah. And by the way,
Messi. So go ahead, Juan.
No, and by the way, we'll get a chance to see Argentina this summer. So here in the United States.
That's right. And that's great news for the US.
Emi Martinez as well in goal. I think that he's been
in
good
people's heads.
Yeah. For Argentina, where we're in that position specifically, they haven't really been the best in recent years.
And if Messi's still at PSG, he cannot wait to go to Argentina to enjoy the football, right?
Yes,
so it all is plain, and this would be what a magical story that would be. Oh,
yeah.
He just took a year off.
He just took he said, "Hey, I'm going to prepare the rest of the body."
Legs are fresh.
So we got 2 Argentinas, a Brazil, a Canada, and a Spain. Enjoy the World Cup. It begins November the 21st. Remember, 4 games a day. So pace yourself, fill out your bracket, and this is the best. It doesn't get any better. It's going to happen here sooner than you think. Want to thank Juan, George, Eric, Connor, of course, Vince, and his Italian shirt, which we'll not see for one more
Only
minute.
the closest we can get.
Still a sweet shirt, though. It's a sweet shirt.
Yes, it is a sweet.
It is a good-looking
I
shirt.
should have gotten you the green one.
Hey, we're all about gifts, right?
Well, yeah, that's the one that they won in 2006. It's been,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll just be quiet about that one.
We'll leave it at that. 110 Football Soccer OG. Great guests, great time. Enjoy the World Cup. We'll see you very soon. We'll be back.